YouTube, get it together. YouTube, get it together. Oh, man. Let's see. Maybe it's StreamYard that needs to get it together. Are we going to transition me over? No, StreamYard, you're going to break on me today? You're just going to let me idle here? Yo! We are back. It's another Friday. It's another week in the, I don't know, what do you want to call it? In the docket, in the can, and it is another episode of The Good, The Mad, The Ugly. I am your host, Mav, Spencer, whatever you want to call me, and I'm just happy to be here to talk to you guys today. Let's see. Obviously, yes. Oh my god. I looked at the chat really quick, and now, like, I got thrown off my entire groove, and now I have no idea what I'm trying to say. Anyway, yeah, no, you're completely right, Andrew. This show is already in the can. Like, we're already off to a bad start. I don't know what's going on with YouTube lately, but between last night and today, like right now, something is going on with their like streaming servers because if I connect my account through OBS, it won't let me access the stream. It pops up a different error every time. Live streaming is not enabled for this channel. This channel hasn't verified its email. We're not getting any data from the OBS. Like, all of this stupid stuff keeps happening, and the only way I can get in is by using the stream key. So because of that, it's clearly screwing up everything. You saw that the intro didn't auto transition over to my face. I had to click that myself. But regardless, we are here, we are back, and I am excited to hang out with every single one of you. We have a lot to talk about this week. It's probably going to be, come on camera, can you please stop futzing around and be HD? That's why I bought you. Yeah, so we have a lot to talk about this week, a lot of insane video game discussion that I'm sure we will have. Obviously, I'm sure everybody here has heard the news about Concord at this point. We'll dive into that. If you saw the thumbnail, and you will know that I want to talk a little bit about Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Aside from that, I don't really have anything specific. So here's the deal. In case you guys don't follow me on Twitter, or you don't follow Andrew, Caffeinated Wolf, on any social media platforms, last night we launched a new show, as Andrew linked in our chat here. Let me see. Let me make sure I can put my... Let me get the comments bubble up. Let's see. Oh, yeah, look at that. See, I got comment bubbles now. No idea where that's going to go. Maybe I will put it... What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Maybe I'll just put it... Maybe we slot the comments in right there. I don't know. This is all... Okay, it's not going to matter because obviously I need to still refresh. You can tell that unlike I didn't keep my promise from last week. I have not finished the refresh for my own layout here. But the reason for that is, let's see. Yes, Zero. It is a total upgrade. Where? Oh, I had to refresh StreamYard. Anyway, Andrew, drop the link again so I can resend the foil variant link. But last night, Andrew and I started our new show over on the Foil Variant channel. The show is called Foil Variant, and over there we talk comic books. We talk what we're reading right now, what we're looking forward to, what we like, what we don't like, all the sort of same content you would get from me ranting and rambling about comic books on this stream. But now I've got a partner, a knowledgeable partner, a partner who, like me, does not want to automatically just like dive into the stupid culture war stuff. So yeah, we launched that last night. That is the reason why my own stream update isn't finished yet, because I spent all week putting the final-ish touches on our layout, our intro, all that sort of fun stuff. There's still some work to do, but I've got it about, I'd say 95% done, completed. Now it's just sort of the bells and whistles I've got to throw on there. But because of that, I didn't get a chance to refresh the stream thing. But yeah, we launched that show last night. So because that is primarily where I'm going to be talking comic books now, this show is probably, like I said last week, this show is going to stay live. We're still going to be hanging out. Obviously, I'm still here. I'll probably still talk about comic books, the occasional book. I mean, there are a couple things I want to highlight that I read this week just because I want to talk about them. But if you want main comic book talk, go over there, right there. Andrew dropped the link in the chat. Subscribe to Foil Variant. I think that technical difficulties from last night aside, I thought it was a really good stream. We had a lot of good discussions. There was a lot of spider talk, as you guys would probably imagine. So if you were if you were one of those people who saw Andrew on my stream every week and were just going, oh, you guys are always talking in the chat, why don't you just have a show? Well, there it is. So go subscribe to Foil Variant. It's really, really cool. We're still getting in the groove of it, obviously, but I'm really excited to build that out. But yes, so all that to say, this show, we're gonna have the same amount of talk, still hang out, all that fun stuff. Probably just a little less focus on comic books, not, it's not gonna disappear, but obviously I have a show for that now. So, before we get into our discussions for the night, our topics for the night, as always, I want to start out with saying hello to every single one of you out there who is doing me the courtesy, the honor of joining me to hang out tonight. We have first, of course, Andrew calling it like he sees it. Correct. This is the gayest show on YouTube. Welcome to Good, the Mad, the Ugly. We've got Corey. What is going on, my brother? Always nice to see you. I don't think I've seen you since Sunday on the last stream. You haven't been in the Discord. You've probably been busy. But it's always a pleasure to see you, Corey, my man. Zero is here. Pleasure to have you, my brother. Always, I know I talk to you all the time, but it's always a pleasure to, talk to you semi-face-to-face. Dante is here. What is up, Dante? So, before I get into Dante's comments, I want to bring this up because over at Foil Variant, I made the intro to the show over this week, and it relies really heavily on clips from Mallrats, right? Because that's one of the very, very, very few movies that actually discusses it has a character who reads comic books. Comic books are part of the talk, the discussions, and all that stuff. It's like that movie, Mr. Glass. That's about it. You get characters that read comic books and a lot of different stuff, like Sonic the Hedgehog, Quicksilver, but to have a character who is a comic book dork, you don't get that a lot. So I got a lot of audio clips and stuff from that movie, but Dante, every time I see Dante, it reminds me of the View Askew-Universe character. Oh, I forget what his name is, but Fanboy. Because with the line, you tell him, Steve Dave, because Dante said it to me once, and now it is stuck in my head, and it always just associates. It's one of those weird links in life, right? But that is aside, I forgot how good of a movie Mallrats is. So I watched it, obviously, because I just put it on the background while I was working. But it reminds me, when I was younger, let's see. When I was younger, I really got into the Kevin Smith, View Askew stuff, because it was this really cool, at the time, he was an outsider, right? I'm going to go do all these weird indie projects that nobody ever heard of. And he sort of was the first one to do a proper cinematic universe, right? All of those movies, Clerks, Mallrats, Dogma, Chasing Amy, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Am I forgetting one? I feel like I'm forgetting one or two in there. But all of those movies are connected. They also share characters, they share events, things, it's a living, breathing world. And I always thought that was really cool. To me, I really like a fiction when it can build out a world that feels alive and not just a play, right? Where a play is you go and the curtains open and you get this scene and it only sort of exists for that moment. I like when a comic book or a movie thing or video games, whatever, when it feels like if I turned off the game or whatever, this world would keep on going. And that's what I always sort of got from the View Askew stuff. So I always really liked that. And it's such a shame because Kevin Smith has become such a knob in recent years, right? He went from this outside tour to huffing the fart of any big production that comes out, big comic book production. We all know his infamous meme of, oh, I went and I saw The Flash, or whatever movie at the time, he's crying. It's the most emotional thing. It's I don't know what happened to make you a consumer, but this really isn't it. I don't know. He kind of, maybe that's just what happens when you get older. I don't know, but it's sort of disheartening to see one of your former idols sort of just throw in with the it's slop, you'll eat it sort of mentality, right? So that's all I wanted to say about Mallrats. Go watch it. It is, I forget how funny it is, and a couple of the things, the references seem cringe now, but back as a kid, seeing somebody there's that scene where Brody goes up to Jay and Silent Bob, and they're talking about how they're going to take down the stage. And Brody's like, all right, take it out, Jay. Or should I call you Weapon X? Or should I call you Logan? And he goes, you should call me Weapon X, snickety snickety. And then, like, you know, his Brody's friend's like, what's he doing? He's like, oh, he's imitating his berserker rage with his adamantium claws. And that at the time, like, as a kid who, when comic books weren't like mainstream and popular, I was like, oh, that's awesome. He actually knows what he's talking about. Like, that's a proper reference. Cool. It's so funny how back then that all seemed so like quaint and fun, and now if I see that in a Marvel movie or whatever, it's that meme, right? We've all seen that meme where it's like the handsome guy goes to the lady's cubicle and he says something and she's like, oh, you're so sweet. And then like the fat guy goes to her cubicle and she goes, hello, HR? That's sort of what it is for me. It's like View Askew, Jay and Silent Bob movies. Oh, look, we have references and cameos and we're interconnected. Oh, you're so sweet. Hi, we're Marvel. We have cameos and references and we're interconnected. Hello, HR? Like, that's exactly how I feel about it. Let's see. Anyway, back on topic, we have Dante saying, what's up to my boy, saying, why anyone still cares about Dragon Ball after that abomination known as GT, I will never understand. I turned on an episode of Super, saw that Frieza was resurrected, and turned it off forever. I mean, you are also somebody who doesn't really enjoy the trappings of typical shonen level stuff. I will admit that, you know, Super's not the strongest product, and that's probably the best way to describe it, is product. But I like GT more. I have this affinity for GT, and maybe it's the fact that it was just out when I was a kid. Like, I recognize it's not the best, it's not Z, it's not canon, but there are things in it that I really like. I really, really like, if you guys have been on this stream or talked to me at all, you know that I love the Super Saiyan 4 transformation. I mean, he's here with me at all times. It's like Goku's right here. Like, you know, get that Spirit Bomb energy going. Like, that's one of my favorite designs. I really like Pan as a character. I liked that Trunks got put into the spotlight because he's my favorite character. I like the idea of negative Dragon Balls, as sort of stupid as it is that they keep creating new Dragon Balls. I like the idea of a negative Dragon Ball that every time you make a wish, bad energy gets stored up and then it breaks and embodies and becomes all the Shenrons and stuff. It's all really over the top and really shonen-y and really like 1980s anime cartoon style stuff, where you can tell they're really, you know, they try to stretch it. They really want to make a bunch of stuff that they can market toys and merchandise on, a bunch of characters. That's all there, and I can admit that. But I just think, to me, yeah, GT, I enjoy it. There's something I can't even really tell you what my justification for liking GT is. I think it genuinely just boils down to like 13-year. There are moments in it where Rule of Cool takes over for my 13-year-old brain, and I go, I like that. I mean, yeah, there are lots of stupid stuff like Vegeta's mustache, or Vegeta's getting the birder waves, or Vegeta's pants in Super Saiyan 4, or Vegeta going Super Saiyan 4, or Vegeta in general. But for the most part, I thought that, you know, I was really harsh on it as a kid, as a teenager. Oh, fuck GT, Z forever, blah, blah, blah. But as I got older, I've lightened up to it. I like a lot of things from it, and now I see it as sort of, I'm glad it's there. I wouldn't want it gone. I would like to see it, you know, rest in peace. I know he's not around anymore, but I would have loved to see Toriyama try and canonize that stuff, like bring it in, like have his take on it, because Super Saiyan 4 is so rad. Pan is a good character when she's, you know, grown up. Again, the Shenron ideas are sort of unique in a very shonen-y way. So I think it has potential. I think I just like a lot of the concepts. I don't know if I would actively sit down and want to watch all of it again, especially like the beginning stuff, because that's where it really sort of slogs. But yeah, I still like GT. Let's see. Who said? Yeah. Zero here says I prefer Super over GT. Mab versus Volume. Am I low? Am I high? That's the thing. I don't try and leave my volumes at any specific level. Things just happen, right? Like, that's the curse of having a computer. I think I brought this up before, but there are often times when I turn on my PC or wake it up from sleep mode, and whatever level I had on my microphone before is lowered for like no reason. So if it was at 100 and I was at max volume, I'd turn on my computer and it's down to 70. And it's just a thing that's happening. It's one of those weird Windows things I can't find a solution for. So let me know if I'm too low, if I'm too high, any of that sort of fun stuff. We're doing it live here. Let's see. Tehillim is here. What is up, Tehillim? He says there's always Restream and StreamYard. Yeah, the problem with I do need to look into a Restream because I know that lets you stream to, you know, Twitter, Twitch, all the other platforms at the same time. But with StreamYard, I just don't. I right now, guys, I don't stream enough or have a big enough audience to justify paying the annual price tag for a StreamYard account, you know, to remove the whatchamacallit, like the watermark and all that stuff. And OBS, honestly, the reason I prefer OBS is because it allows me complete modular control over everything. Like all of this stuff I put on here, all the chats, all the, you know, Tehillim's little comment here, my name tag, all of this I did without having to, you know, it didn't say you have to fit in with our animations. We can only use images this big. I'm allowed to mess around with it. And for me, that is a selling point for me. That's why even to this day, I haven't jumped over to the Mac ecosystem really, because those computers are sort of kiddie mode. They sort of lock you out for being able to get into the guts and dig around in there. Let's see. Let's see. Jump. Corey says, I've been posting memes in the Discord. I haven't been having much conversations in any servers I'm in. You know what? Come to think of it, yeah, I have noticed that you do drop the memes. It's one of those things where if I see like a channel in Discord has something, I'll look, and if it's not something I'm replying to right away, pardon me, I register that it was posted, but maybe not necessarily who it was. Yo-ho-ho! It's been a while, Eccentric Banana. What is going on, my brother? I have not seen you in a while, so I'm just happy to see you, happy to know you're alive, you're well. What's up? My spirits are up now that you are here. Jacob is here, my boy, saying GT greater than Super. See, I got to agree with that because, I don't know, there's something about Super that feels more cynical than anything, where it's like, because, okay, I think this is where the whole concept of reviving Dragon Ball brought me down, right? Which was at the very, in Super, the way they started everything, right, was they did Battle of the Gods, introduced Beerus, and then that was where you got the Super Saiyan God form, right? And it was this really big thing. It was, you know, all the Saiyans together, and they have to, like what am I trying to say here? Like, they got all those Saiyans to do that ritual, and you had to have 5 of them, and you all had to have good hearts and get together, and it was this big ceremony. And then when they started Super, it was like, oh, by the way, here's a brand new form, Super Saiyan God, Blue, and it's better than that one you had before. And it was like, well then, and there's no circumstance or like no pomp or circumstance to becoming a Blue, so what was even the point of any of that? So like that to me was where it started, that sort of maybe hesitant, where I'm like, the fact that you introduce a new form so fast makes me feel like you're trying to market something to us or like merchandises to us too fast, and I'm not against that, but let's let things breathe, and also let's make the Super Saiyan Blue form mean something, right? We essentially, God and Blue God are the equivalent of 3 and 4, right? Where Super Saiyan 3 was this big thing, Goku transforms into it, it's a desperation move, I can't hold it for very long, it takes all of my power, big deal, and it couldn't even beat Boo. And then you go to 4, and Vegeta can just grab it right away. Right, like it's bad writing, and that was what sort of put me off. I also don't like that Super. The storytelling feels really lazy to me, because at least like you started it and ended it with tournament arcs, which like I guess that's what you do for Dragon Ball because it's a fighting series, but the problem with stories doing tournaments and such like that is that it's 9 times out of 10 you can bank on the good guys are going to win, and so you sort of know where the outcome's going to come. So anything like Jiren becoming super 100% was cool to see and visually and everything, and I like Jiren. But then I'm like, well, this isn't. I know he's gonna lose, even if it's not to Goku. Like, I know he can't win it all because the good guys have to save the day. So that's a little rough for me. Where I'm like, okay, tournaments, blah blah blah. It's probably gonna be a Saiyan, always is. I do really like the. I know this is a controversial take, but the whatchamacallit, the Goku Black arc. I was a really big fan of that arc because I really like. Okay, so a lot of people hate how that arc was resolved, right? Because Goku Black gets too powerful, him and Zamasu, to the point where Xenos has to, delete the universe. And then he goes and he hangs out with the other Xenos in the Prime universe, Universe 7. Fine, or like, I know people don't like that because it was a cop-out, but I sort of like it from a narrative perspective because it showed, that's sort of the meta joke about Dragon Ball is no matter what we do, we can always get more powerful, and that's how we win. I have a new form. This arc was showing like, no, it's not going to work this time. You're up against Goku. Like, I thought it was a neat, I don't want to say subversion, but it was a neat handling of the idea of Saiyans and power and all that stuff. And I do like that it had to come down to erase the universe because that shows that, our heroes will not always win. And I think that having stakes in a story is something that really keeps you involved. And so I know it's not the best. Like, I know a lot of people don't like it. I know it is a cop-out. I admit that as well. And it kind of was a big trump card that they can't do anymore. But I still like that development. Let's see. Shinkai, my boy Shinkai is here. It says GT intro is a home run. Super Saiyan furry is the best. Vegeta mustache and sweet relation with Bola. Yeah, no, Vegeta's a great dad to Bola. That's a really fun little relationship there. The mustache, good gosh, I don't know who thought that was a good idea. I think the only other Saiyan we've seen with facial hair up to that point was Nappa with his little thin goatee. So definitely took you for a ride. Yeah, see, Wolf says, I love shonen stuff, so I vibe with it. I think that's exactly what I was getting at, right? GT is very, very shonen heavy. Like, all of the stuff there, I mean, you have character being like turned into a kid again, so you have your teenage protagonist, you have jumping around to a bunch of different locations in space, you have a new set of Dragon Balls that can do even more stronger things, right? Like, it's very shonen. And so if you don't like, yeah, right, like just like Andrew's comment, if you don't vibe with shonen a lot, you are probably going to be put off by Dragon Ball GT. I mean, I would say if you're not a big shonen person, you probably start, your enjoyment of the series is a downward correlation, starting from Dragon Ball Chapter 1 to Super, whatever the latest chapter is, and GT the anime. Like, see, to me, the most fun things in Super have been like the day-to-day stuff, because I don't know what's going to happen in it. The whole Saiyan Man X and like 1 and 2 thing with Goten and Trunks, I really liked that arc, obviously because it was about Sentai and Toku, but also because it was something new. I didn't really know where they were going with it. And I know they weren't going to end it with like, oh, Goten dies, Trunks dies. I'm not saying that, but at least I was like, I have no idea where the story is going. Please surprise me, Toyotaro. Please surprise me. Let's see. Zero says, I mean, Daima could do that. And I think you mean like canonize in GT stuff. It could. I don't know. I feel like if a project was going to canonize GT, they would put that front and center. And they'd be like, guess what? Super Saiyan 4, he's here, he's coming. I would love to be surprised. I would love for Daima to end with Goku going Super Saiyan 4 and breaking his child form. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, at this point, if you were asking me to make a bet, I'd say probably not, but who knows? You know what? I probably wouldn't even make a bet, because in my mind, I can make an argument for either side. Andrew says, StreamYard is highway robbery unless you're bringing in a bunch of money monthly. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a really good piece of technology. It's really helpful for facilitating multi-person streams very easily. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I will admit, and I'm sure Andrew feels the same way, the way we do foil variant, like to get us together on a screen, it's a bit of a workaround. Like, we have to go to a third-party site, and I have to grab a link from that and put it into OBS. It would be much more convenient if I could just say, Andrew, here's a link, jump in. But yeah, it is highway robbery. Like, we have it enabled for bounding, but that's because bounding has 20,000 subscribers, and we get 10. I don't want to say tens of thousands, but like 10,000 views, 20,000 views, 10 views like per video, or 1,000 views per video. So, yeah, maybe someday it would be really awesome if I could start making money from streaming and we could afford all that stuff. But even then, I'd rather put it towards things for like you guys, like better presentation, doing giveaways and stuff. Like that's something I've always wanted to do, is like per stream give away a game or a book or something. Like, there are so many Steam games or Humble Bundles where you can get something for like $2, $1. Like, or even some physical things. Why not? It's a dream of mine, but that's what I'd rather put my money towards than StreamYard, especially because, and you don't know this either, Andrew, but like I've got multi people stream stuff on OBS, and it looks way better and it feels more fun than it would on StreamYard, and it gives my stream more of a unique identity because I don't look like everybody else's stream out there. So yeah, I'm right. Maybe someday, if I start pulling in all of the Tim Pool super chats or whatever, I will get that. I don't watch Tim Pool. I presume he makes a lot of money because he's still doing this after all these years. But yeah, that's basically all I got to say on that. Oh, yes, that's right. My buddy Tahillim is here. He's saying, have really enjoyed watching more episodes of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Sent a message to your Twitter about it. Okay, so, Tahillim, I did get those. Here's the thing. I got those messages. I got them last night as I was going to bed because we're in different time zones. I have not had a chance to, like, sit down and breathe today to, like, talk to anybody. But I knew I was going to see you probably here on this stream. And if not, I was just going to shout you out anyway. And I could reply to you here. So, yes, guys, Tahillim just started JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. He sent me a message where he's like, how did Araki make vampires like a real true threat of a villain? And I'm like, that's the thing. The series is so good. And what's crazy, Tahillim, is that as it goes on, that identity is not going to be dropped, right? Like, they're not going to forget that he's a vampire. That still plays into everything, and it still matters. Even like that, to me, is good writing, is making sure that everything can sort of come into play and not immediately get shoved to the back end. Like, one of my biggest complaints about Dragon Ball is when Piccolo got the Nail upgrade, right? Like, he combines with Nail and then he combines with Kami, and he's super powerful. Then it doesn't really matter. He's okay for like one fight against Android 17, and then, Saiyan time, everybody get the Saiyans in there. And to me, that's bad writing. There should have been a way to make Piccolo's form or his power-up viable. So, yeah, like, JoJo is one of my... It's just an absolute banger, Tahillim. I'm so happy you are reading it. I believe you're still on part 1 right now because you're talking about the vampires and the phantom blood of it all. There are some really dumb people out there who will tell you, skip parts 1 and 2 because they're technically, as we all know, the big power thing with JoJo are these things called stands, essentially where you summon a ghost and it can do attacks for you. That wasn't introduced until like the 3rd arc or the 3rd part of JoJo, Stardust Crusaders. So way too many idiots out there go, oh, you got to skip the first 2 parts. You just get to the part with the stands. Everything will make sense. That's where all the memes come from and blah, blah. It's like, no. You're dumb if you do that anyway. Like, first of all, don't skip parts to anything. I don't understand this mentality where people skip entire arcs or entire movies or entire whatever. And then I see those same people come back and go, what's going on with this? I can't believe this arc developed like that. And it's like, well, if you'd have read the shit you missed, even if it was bad, you would understand what was going on. But to me, 1 and 2 are they're probably like the strongest written parts for me. Honest to goodness. Like, 2 is probably the best. 1 is super strong for me. I really, 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 really like Steel Ball Run, which is 7, but that technically doesn't count, and I'm not going to say why, but you will find out as you keep reading. Let's see. So yeah, 2-1, probably. Okay, so here's where I get torn. I would say probably my favorite arc that goes into third place is what was, yeah, I'd probably say it's not Stardust Crusaders. Diamond is Unbreakable, but I have my favorite JoJo, like the actual JoJo character, is Giorno from 5, but I recognize that that part's not that strong, so I always get torn about what I want to throw in there. But I am happy that you are checking it out to him. Yes, keep hitting me up on Twitter. I am ready to fanboy out with you at every turn. Eccentric Banana says, Frieza is still one of my favorites. I like how he's portrayed in Super as well. So, I don't know if you've heard me say this before, Eccentric, but to me, Frieza is peak, not just Dragon Ball villain, but he's just peak villain. I love just evil, like, right bastard characters. The ones who are evil, they know they're evil, they kind of don't give a shit. And that, you know, no matter what the hero tries to do to bring them over to their side, no, I'm going to do what I want to do, blah, blah, blah. I'm evil because I want to be evil. Like, I like that kind of character a lot, and I think Frieza was the biggest threat because of that. Like, there's no reasoning with him. He's super powerful. It's either fight him and kill him, or you die, right? Like, that's my favorite scene in probably all of Dragon Ball, is on Namek when Goku's beating Frieza, and Frieza's, like, struggling on the ground, and he throws the Destructo Discs at Goku, and Goku dodges them, and it cuts Frieza in half. Frieza's laying on the ground, and Goku gives him, like, energy, and he goes, there, the planet's about to explode in, like, 5 minutes. Do what you can to get off. And Goku starts flying off to the ship, and Frieza, instead of trying to save himself, just uses all of that energy for one last blast, and Goku turns around and delivers the best, you fool! And just, like, blows him away, right? Because there's no other way to stop Frieza. I like him a lot, so I'm right there with you. One of my favorite things in Super about him, Banana, is hell for him. How hell, like, when they go to rescue him from hell, it's just sort of like a very happy, like, open field where kids are playing and they're singing songs and butterflies are flying. I thought that was a very funny idea. I also, I know this is sort of really stupid, and it's very shonen-y, but I did like in the manga when Frieza Black showed up and beat Granola, and everybody was like, "What? How did Frieza beat Granola? You're supposed to be the strongest. He's supposed to be the strongest fighter in the universe." And they were like, "Well, Frieza wasn't technically in this universe at the time. He's training over in Hell." And I'm like, "That's okay. I kind of dig that, even if, you know, Frieza Black is a little eye-rolly." Hey, look at that. We have Heretic Prince. What's up, buddy? I haven't seen you in a long time. Hail to you. Oh yeah, Andrew, I can't believe I forgot that. I cannot believe I forgot. King Vegeta had the goatee. That's like, that is the most important one. So you know what? I take back my criticism. Vegeta is just trying to be like his dad. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Am I right? Heretic says, I think in DBZ, a Saiyan with facial hair was supposed to signify they were older. It just doesn't work with Vegeta, though. I think maybe you're probably right now that I think about it, considering King Vegeta has it and then Nappa has it. Yeah, I don't know why it doesn't work with Vegeta. I think it was just all of it, the combination of, like, the new clothes, the mustache, the haircut. It was just a lot of, like, you've kind of adapted a little too fast. Like, let's remember you're a Saiyan. See, okay, Shinkai says, I like the mustache, a bit goofy, but I think it works. Eccentric says, his mustache is over 9,000. See, I like the mustache solely for that scene where Bola tells him to, like, shave it. And he's like, what? That's not, like, it doesn't look good? And she's like, no, Dad, you look really, really bad. Okay, so, is my volume still low? I see my boy, Duck is here, saying 2 months later, and you still haven't fixed your volume. That's what I said. Let me know if it's down. You probably missed it earlier, Duck, but I've been doing a bunch of, like, production stuff with things on streaming, and so a bunch of my settings are all messed up. But what's up, buddy? Happy to see you. Let me, before... Hey, we have Timon in the house. What is going on, my friend? It's not a stream. It's not a good Mav Ugly without our second resident Brazilian, Timon. Timon, you might like this. I made a joke last night to Dozer because he was like, with everything that's going on with Brazil and the internet access or whatever, he's like, I don't remember what we were all talking about, but he dropped a comment where he was like, yeah, you guys are all worried about like playing the game or whatever. I'm worried about going to jail and being fined $1 million. What money do you guys use? Like pebbles, rocks, whatever you guys have. And I was like, don't worry, Zero. If you go to jail, I'll raise, I'll do a campaign and we'll raise the funds to get you out. And then I'll do another campaign to raise the funds to get the shipping money to ship the funds to you. Like, I still cannot get over Brazilian shipping. It's my favorite joke in the world. Duck says, oh boy, do you collect Dragon Ball trading card game cards? I'm thinking about starting collecting One Piece trading card games. Is it worth it? Well, let's see. I definitely do collect all of the Dragon Ball cards, and I do play One Piece. I play both Dragon Ball card games, Fusion World and Masters. Here's what I would say. I really like playing it. It is worth it to get in if you're buying like singles and stuff. You're not gonna find anything. Like, you're not going to find booster packs in places, right? Those things are impossible to find, so you're probably going to have to go online or go to shops and stuff, which if you're the person who likes running around and searching for things, you know, going on hunts, if you will, it's a lot of fun, but it is, you know, it's not as easy as just going online and grabbing a box and going, I want to open them, which is how it used to be, but now it's super popular. I would also note that for One Piece, for both One Piece and Dragon Ball Fusion, there are online simulator clients. The One Piece one is an independent thing, so it plays more like a traditional sort of card game, like interface, like your old Pokemon TCG, Yu-Gi-Oh games, blah, blah, blah. But the Dragon Ball one is a full, like, game client thing. I've played it a couple times here on stream where, like, there are character animations and a whole client thing. It looks really cool, and one of the cool parts about that Dragon Ball Fusion game is that if you buy a real-world booster pack, it gives you a code to get a booster pack in the digital version. Same with if you buy a starter deck. So if you buy, like, the Goku starter deck in real life, you get a code to get the Goku starter deck in the digital version. So if you want to play, I would say definitely get into it. There are lots of fun ways to do it. If you want to collect, I would also... See, I'm always going to say get into it because I'm a huge card game dork. I think most of y'all already know this at this point. Like, I gush about card games. I play... Oh my god, they just announced an Ultraman card game. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. I already play, like I said, Dragon Ball Masters, One Piece, Magic the Gathering, and now you're going to put Ultraman on my plate? Like, I'm fighting for my life here, man. I'm fighting for my life here. So, like, I'm so screwed. But yeah, I would say get into them, collect them. I love cards. I love card games. And like, they're really, really fun to play. And then Duck, if you do get into it, January is the Bandai, what do you call it? Bandai Nationals are in LA. So we could go. I'll be going this year. So and if you guys are in Southern California, maybe we'll do a thing. We'll meet up. I don't know. That's way out in January. That's way far from now. I still got to worry about assembling my deck for that thing. So, bottom line, I say yes, but just be warned that it's not as you won't find them at Target, unfortunately. My mic is not working. How is it not working? That's not good. All right, let's hope I can get it to a point where it works. Shinkai says, first, Wolf says Frieza is S tier. Like, to me, just that's where I know it's sort of unsatisfactory to fans, but I like what's going. Oh, it's my microphone that's coming into the corner. I was like, what's wrong with my green screen? I got an arm again, guys. Do you notice that I'm able to move around without knocking the camera that I used to have sitting right here on my desk, or the microphone stand I had on my desk? But to me, I always thought Dragon Ball should have ended where Goku is, right after the Frieza saga, where Goku is lost in space. Nobody knows if he's, like, where is he going to go next? Is he alive? Is he dead? His friends don't know, but the world is saved. I thought that's a very impactful ending and one that stands out and sort of sticks with you. And I understand why that wasn't the end of it. Even if they like if it was going to end at Frieza, I understand why you would have had Goku come home and everything. But to me, that maybe that's just me being, the pretentious literature dork I am. That's the sort of good, ambivalent, half tragic, half heroic ending that I think could have really worked. Okay, Shinkai said for JoJo's 1 through 6, favorite JoJo is Josuke. That's number 4. Yeah, he's a good one. I really like him too. I just think I don't know. There's just something I really like about Giorno. Like I love his motivations, his design, the fact that his stand is a little weird and a little broken. I kind of just like that. I don't know. It's all personal. I like all of them. There's not a main JoJo that I dislike, but yeah, I would say probably Giorno is my number 1. Tehillim says, I finished watching part 1 and 2 of JoJo's in the anime, recently started third part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. The story reminds me of like Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter completely meshed together. That's a really, really good way to look at it. And I would actually really agree with that, especially in part 3 where they're like hopping all over the place, right? Like that reminds me a lot of when they were traveling through Greed Island and all of that fun stuff. So I think that's a really apt comparison, especially with like the spirit detectives' powers are all based on their soul and their spirit, much like the stands. So I really like that, Tehillim. That's a good comparison. Yeah, no, I agree, Zero. Zero says, Black Frieza is a massive ass-pull and a setup for a next arc we don't even know how it's going to be. I mean, obviously we don't know how that next arc is going to be. That's just the nature of unreleased stories, right? But no, I agree that it was an ass-pull. I just sort of liked there was at least a logic to it, and it wasn't just, oh yeah, but Frieza got stronger after you or something. But the audience is introduced to the Dark Continent early when the Dark Continent of JoJo's is connecting to the Masks and Pillar Men. The Mask, the Pillar Men, I'm so sad that, slight spoiler maybe, they don't ever really come back. I would have loved to see, like, they are probably some of the best villains, especially Cars, in all of shonen fiction. Let's see. Heretic Prince says, will the mustache scene humanize Vegeta like he's a family man instead of an anti-villain now? Oh, no, yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's just, like he was a good dad. Like, I think he's always been, maybe not the best dad, but he's always been a dad. At least they show him trying to be a dad. And I'm not trying to reignite that stupid Goku's a bad dad, he neglects his kids discourse. I'm strictly speaking about Vegeta, where, he wasn't the best dad, but with GT, you started slowly seeing him try to put in that effort. I did like that character development. Or anti-hero, whichever it is. At this point, he could probably qualify for either. Yeah, Heretic Princess. I played both the Score and Panini DBZ card games. They were fun. I played the hell out of the Score one. Like, that was my identity for the longest time. I have a bunch of handles that I made, like internet handles I made when I was a kid that are inspired by the decks I was rocking at the time. I still remember everything, right? Like red color is super attack heavy, blue is recovery heavy, in board control, orange is energy building. What was it? Green is Saiyan, which was a mix between attack and defense. Black was, I think, pure defense. Those were, I loved that game. And then like moving the scouter up and down. For that Scores game, Heretic, I actually have a shitload, like a genuine shitload of all the special promo cards. I collected the hell out of that. I think I played it into extinction. Like up until the day they canceled it for the Panini one. I never got into the Panini one because that came out in that, I think you guys have heard me talk about this before, my nerd culture dark era where I was in college and between, socializing and school and work and all that stuff, I didn't really have time to indulge in nerd stuff. And when I did, when I did have the time to indulge in nerd stuff, it was me basically going to the local fighting game scene and just rocking a bunch of Ultimate Marvel vs. 3 matches all day. So that's what I was doing. I never got into the Panini one, but these ones I'm currently a giant fan of. Let's see. Duck says, Marcy asks, what should my monthly budget be if I start collecting One Piece trading card games? I figure it will be extra big because of the new Netflix One Piece show. So, it won't be. Here's where the price differentiators are right now, right? So, a typical box of cards like this cost MSRP, like regular retail price, is $60. Right now, if you want to find pretty much any set of One Piece, at least the more recent ones, and not like and I'm talking like sealed boxes of them, they'll probably run you closer to $100. Like, I just pre-ordered the upcoming set, and that cost me about $100 for a box because of print issues and Bandai being really, really bad with just fulfilling everything. So it's not extreme. If you wanted to, I would say, like, even $100 would probably be a really solid budget. And I know your situation, Dux. That's why I'm saying it. I would say, if you're buying singles easily, you can buy so many cards for 10 cents a cent. So $100 maybe a month is maybe 150. You can easily, like, what I do, Duck, is I don't. There are a couple sets where I wasn't able to find a pre-order for the boxes, so I've been going on to tcgplayer.com and buying the singles to fill out my collection, right? So I buy 4, so deck playsets are 4 cards. So you can only have max 4 cards in your deck of any card. So I'll go in, I'll buy 4 of this, 4 of that. And for all of the commons and uncommons, and even the standard rares, if you get all of those from a set, maybe $70-$80, right? For 4 of them, full play sets, depending on if there's a particular card that's in demand or whatever. Things obviously get a little pricier as you start going to like super rares and ultra rares and stuff. But unless you're going for the $1 in billion box cards that go for thousands of dollars anyway, you're not really ever going to bump up against those super high prices. Like, the only reason I've ever bumped up against the super high prices is because there are in the One Piece game, you have energy cards essentially, and there is you can have a total of 10 of them when you play the game, and they made 10 energy cards that are foil, and they each are just the individual symbol, like the skull of each respective Straw Hat, right? Luffy, Nami, Jinbei, all of them. So they look really cool. And all of those cards cost anywhere from $70 per, like, one card, to, I think the Luffy one is around $150 right now. So it's very, if you want to get into it, the price point is admittedly very low unless you're going for those major high level ones. And in truth be told, if you start getting into collecting them, you'll be able to, get cards and start trading around and getting old ones. Like, when I go to nationals, there are people who are just walking around like, trades, anybody want trades? Just binders full of trades. So I don't know if you guys know this, but there's a service called Bandai, and that's where Premium Bandai, and that's where Bandai sort of puts all of their stuff nowadays, their toys, their special release cards, all that fun stuff. And when they ship them out, they sort of come in these cardboard standard, what are they called, Andrew? The comic book ones? In a Gemini mailer, essentially. These people will buy them, and they won't even take them out of the box. They'll just walk around the nationals with them in the shipping box, like, who wants them? Who's willing to pay? So you don't have to go extremely hard if you don't want to. You don't have to break the bank. And the good part is, if you are looking to play, you can hop on the simulator, you can test a bunch of things out, and if you really want to keep the budget low, you can just buy the cards you need for a single deck at a time. So there's lots of options. It's a really, really low entry point. I would tell Marcy, do not worry, it's not going to break the bank. He'll still be able to pay for schools and diapers and all that fun stuff. So, but if you do it, hit me up. I'm always, no, there it goes. I'm always willing to play. I'm always playing, in my off time. Weekends is when I spend a lot of time messing with my card game stuff. Centric Banana says, I'm out till next time. Hey, thank you, Banana. I miss you, man. I'm happy to see you again. Hopefully we'll see you next week. There was one thing more I wanted to mention. Oh, yeah. Duck mentions he figures it'll be big because of the new Netflix One Piece show. the release of the first season didn't really blow it up that much, so I wouldn't worry about that. But more to the point, they showed that image of Chopper, and I'm actually cautiously optimistic at this point. Chopper's got to be either like a puppet or just either like a really really good puppet, a straight up deer, or like a real life deer that they just put a hat on and maybe they put peanut butter in his mouth to be like Mr. Ed, or it's just like a plushie somebody walks around with every so often. I'm gonna pull up the preview image. No, you zoomed out. That's not what I wanted. Let me see. Studio mode. Awesome. I can definitely jump it over. Yay! Yeah, so this is the first look we see of Chopper. Not bad looking. I mean, admittedly, it's from behind. It's not, we don't really see anything, but cautiously optimistic with what they're going to do with him. The first season of One Piece earned enough goodwill from me, and, you know, I know that, like, Oda is involved with it, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to scream bloody murder just yet. I mean, you guys know me. I'm not the kind to just go off on nothing without having watched it. So we will see. I'm hoping it's good. Let's see. Where should we put the comment box here, guys? Maybe I'll just center it. Let's just center it. That's super easy. Lock that. Lock it. Aw, yeah. Oh, I gotta put it under the border. Don't you guys love when I have to fix things in real time? Reeve says, Cell is my favorite villain from the franchise for Dragon Ball. And I really like him too, but I think the threat of Frieza was better. I really like Cell before he becomes perfect. I really like First Form Cell. He's probably one of my favorite designs ever. Because if you guys have talked to me before, you know I love my body horror, so I love my grotesque, monstrous, gross sort of creature type things, right? Like I really loved everything we saw in Kamen Rider Black Sun. I really loved, obviously, what we're talking about right here with Cell's first form. I liked all of that. It was just, as soon as he became perfect, it kind of took away the mystique of him being this different android-y creature, and he was just another fighter again. And I get it, because that was the whole, he's made from all the DNA of fighting people. So sure, I get that. It's just, I feel like it took a little bit of it away. I still like Cell a lot. I'm not a big fan of Gohan, so I don't really, that arc doesn't have the same sort of impact it does for me that it does for a lot of people. Like, I know a lot of people cite the Father-Son Kamehameha as one of their favorite moments, and I'm like, it's cool. I still think the scene when Goku blows away Frieza is way better. But yes, I do like Cell, so no argument for me. And also, Reeve, hello. Nice to have you along with us, my friend. We were talking about you a little earlier. Glad you could stop by. Awesome. Duck says Marcy's excited and down to go to the Nationals. Please contact me later to plan stuff out. We are down to go. Awesome. Yeah, like I said, it's going to be going down in January. I will definitely hit you guys up. Yeah, I mean, we've been friends for years. I know where to reach you. Look at that. More Cell talk. I remember at the end of the Cell saga, I really wanted to see Gohan take over with Vegeta and Piccolo being like mentors and teachers to the new generation. I did too. I always thought that I thought if you weren't going to end the series at Frieza altogether, then Cell is a really good way to end it, where you have Goku giving one final send-off. If you'd have done Father-Son Kamehameha as sort of, this is the end, and this is the torch being passed to Gohan proper, I think I would be way behind it more. But it's because they went, oh, can you give us another arc, please? Like, we don't want this to end yet. And he went, okay, fine, and I guess I got to bring Goku back, so he's the lead now, yada, 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 yada. And thus, the Majin Buu saga was born, my least favorite saga of the entire show. Which is slightly ironic, or maybe not ironic, but slightly funny, because even though it's my least favorite arc, it introduces two of my favorite things, which are Videl. She's my wife, my like Dragon Ball waifu. I love her to death, both short and long hair, and of course the Great Saiyan Man. So even though that's kind of not the Buu arc, it's like that middle in between arc, whatever you want to call it. I group everything together by villain. So as soon as Cell is dead, now you're in the Majin Buu arc. As soon as Frieza's dead, now we're in the Cell arc, or technically Android arc. It's the same thing. Cell's an android. I don't care. Also, before, or let me see, not a before. I don't know what I was trying to say. Reeve says, JoJo Part 5 is the one part of the first 6 that can't be skipped, and you won't miss anything important for the overall story. See, I was just talking about this, Reeve. I completely disagree with any element of skip this part. Yes, 5 is probably the least important to the story overall, but I could admittedly say that, you know, considering what happens at the end of Part 6, I could say that about any of the parts. So, I think to me, it's like, whenever you're watching anything, reading anything, playing anything, don't skip parts. Because even if you think that it's inconsequential, there are still things and developments and payoffs, right? There is the introduction of the Arrow. There's the introduction of, or the reintroduction of Polnareff, seeing what he was up to. The arc deals with what happened to Dio after Part 3. So there's stuff that is relevant in there. So I love you, Reeve. You're one of my good friends, but I am an adamant defender, opposer, fighter of the idea that any parts should be skipped. And this is coming from someone who, like, even in the future, I'm going to tell people, if you really want to know Spider-Man, you've got to read the Zeb Wells run, because it's not good. It's fucking terrible. It's one of the worst things ever written. But there's context there for the larger franchise, for fan sentiment during that time, where he is now, where it all went. So to me, it's sort of like it's all history. You got to take in all history. You can't just ignore the 1940s or the 1800s. You got to take it all. You take the good, you take the bad, put it together, and there you have life. Mav, no. What did I Mav know? What did I say? I thought I was pretty adamant that I don't know. What's my controversial point there, Andrew? Oh, Duck, really? Fest 25 isn't in LA? Where is it then? That is actually a huge fucking bummer. I still might actually want to go. So let me know where that actually is. Yeah. Not Wells. I know. I said blasphemy. Somebody's going to clip that and take it out of context. But someday, like, for example, in the future, somebody's going to pick up Ultimate Spider-Man, right? And they're going to go, this is a pretty good book, but maybe I don't understand why everybody loves it so much. Why was this such a big deal at the time? And that's when you go read Zeb Wells. Just read the first volumes or two, if you have to. Like, if you have to skip anything, at least get a feel for what his stuff did. And then you'll understand why everybody went, Ultimate Spider-Man is it's ambrosia. Yes, Andrew, I have virtually every chord from the score sets. Someday, Andrew, when we when I finally have my own proper space and I can dig out all those cards out of storage, we should do just a dumb stream where, like a dumb foil variant stream where we just go through those cards, be like, oh, remember this one? Remember that one? Remember this one? Remember that one? I think that would be a lot of fun. Heretic, my man! In Score DBZ, I played Red and then later Freestyle and would only play Vegeta as my MP. I will tag you in a pic. Dude, my man, I was a strictly Red player as well. That was... It was just the fastest... You ramp up damage as a Red player so fast that it is almost unfair. Like, you can get to turn 2 and already be ready to blow away, like, half their Dax deck. It was crazy. Who was my leader? I think my leader was Trunks for a long time because, duh, it's Trunks. I was going to pick him no matter what. Hey, Jay Lee, there is my man. Oh, dude, I was just thinking about you the other day because I was doing some video editing work and I had to grab a clip of the Justice or the Crime Syndicate from Earth 2 from the Owlman movie. What is it called? Crisis on Earth 3, the animated movie, and it's got that version of what is it? Not one, like Superwoman Lois Lane, the one that I like, who has like the black hair and the black like leotard suit. And I was like, oh man, I know Jay's looking over my shoulder going, I see you, Spence. I see you. I know what you're thinking. I know your type. Oh man, Shinkai just said also just finished Justified, not City of Primeval yet. Definitely a really, really good series. Yes, I'm so happy that you watched it. Isn't it just a good series? I genuinely miss that series. Corey, if Corey is still here, I wonder if if Corey's still around. I know he's probably happy to hear that news too, because he genuinely likes that series. I mentioned Justified on like the first couple of streams I had, and he was like, "Oh my god, I didn't know anybody watched that show." Da 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 da. It remains just one of my favorite. It's not cowboy proper, but I still consider it like cowboy fiction, cowboy project, whatever. So I'm a giant fan of that series. I'm really glad that you picked it up for you, because you had a good experience. Duck says, "Okay, what I'm talking about was the new Netflix One Piece show. When I'm talking about the new Netflix show, I was talking about how Netflix hired some company to remake the 1,000 One Piece episodes and streamline it. It's supposed to start airing." Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about. The anime remake that's happening while the anime is still currently happening and the manga is still currently happening. Just you're hitting Dragon Ball levels of merchandising One Piece. Let's slow our roll just a little bit. Otherwise, we're gonna get into a Dragon Ball Evolution situation at some point, and we want to avoid that. In regards to if that show is going to affect the card game prices, I still don't think they will, because at this point, the vast majority of One Piece fans, they know the card game exists and they're probably already playing it. Anybody who gets into One Piece from this anime, there's probably not going to be a too big of an influx of people. Or let me rephrase what I'm trying to say. Right now, the card game is sort of, it's popular. The people who like One Piece play the game, but because of that popularity, it's a little, like I was saying, it's a little hard to find product right now. So when it launches, when that remake launches, if somebody wants to start getting into it, they're going to run into the same problems you would. And I don't think that that's because you're then going to have to just deal with that third-party economy. You're not going to see too immediate of a rise, right? Like, this would be different if everything was out there and you could buy. If I could walk down to my comic book store right now and grab a deck like I used to be able to do, we'd be having a different story. And then I would say, yeah, I actually do think that show will probably make a lot of products sell out. But as it is, they'll probably do what they keep doing, which is anytime a movie comes out, they did it with Film Red, they did it with the first season of the Netflix show. They always do special card sets. Like here, I can actually look one up right now. Let's which I definitely have, because I have alerts on for any time like a TCG thing goes live. So like, see, they did this live set of cards, which is pretty neat. Like, not bad. But this cost standard price when it came out, and now obviously it costs a little bit more on the third hand market, and it's limited. But this was about the biggest boost the Netflix show did for the card games. I've been noticing that it's really odd that the One Piece Netflix fandom almost exists in its own microcosm away from, pardon me, the general overall One Piece fandom. Right? Like, when I was in the Philippines recently, and I was going to all the Toys R Us's and toy stores they had there were all these, like, live-action One Piece plushies, and live-action One Piece little minifigures and stuff, and I've never seen anybody buy those. I've never seen anybody in America even rocking them, but apparently my cousin was telling me, like, oh yeah, it's the live-action Netflix series is super popular. Everybody's buying it out, blah, 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 and I'm like, that's really bizarre. I don't know why. It's just something I thought was interesting. Yes, Heretic. My brother is the same way. He loved the Great Saiyan Man. He's always been sort of my favorite since I was a kid. I always liked his design. I don't. Here's the funny thing. I don't think that. Or what am I trying to say here? So obviously we all know Saiyan Man is supposed to be a joke, right? Like it's Gohan being a Toku hero, and it's supposed to be a little bit goofy. That, you know, especially with his whole posing and all that stuff. I think that, you know, as a kid, I think that missed the mark, because I look at this and I go, he's so cool. Maybe not so much this whatchamacallit, like, I don't like the bandana look, but I really like the helmet look. The helmet look is really cool. It is. I have a question for you guys. It looks like my screen is dark for some reason, like super dark. I don't know. I gotta figure that out. That's a tech problem I gotta do on my own. Look at this, just like Gohan, very easy. Yes, Andrew. When I moved to Texas, look, if I can afford any amount of moving out, I would go to Texas. Why the hell not? It's not like I got anything here in Arizona. All right. Yes, Corey is there. Yeah, I knew people watched Justified. I watched Justified when it originally aired on FX. So did I. I knew that's why I was like, Corey, get in here, Corey. Yes, and now I'm happy that you two are chatting about it. That's so awesome. Andrew says, that's because here in the West, most of the people who want to buy op merch will buy the stuff from the anime. Yeah, like, that's what I'm saying, and I totally agree with that, Reed. It's just so... I think more of my point was there's no overlap. Or, I mean, obviously there's overlap, but the overlap is not... You would sort of think if somebody got into One Piece, they would go... Maybe they'd buy a couple live-action things or get a set of all the live-action things, and then maybe they'd probably end up buying something with the anime on it. Just, I don't know, a wall scroll, a case for their Switch, something like that. Not really the case with One Piece Netflix. Like, you're either a One Piece, like, general fan where you like the video games, the anime, the manga, all of it, or you just like the Netflix series. And I think, honestly, it goes back to this phenomena that I always find myself fascinated with, which is, like, there is an entire ecosystem out there, guys, of, like, audiences we don't even think about. And I like to call it, like, the like, crime drama ecosystem, right? Like, your Blue Bloods, your Law and Order, your Chicago PD. These shows do millions of viewers all the time. And it's just like, who the hell is watching these? And, like, that's almost who I feel is watching the like, getting into this, like, super heavy into the One Piece Netflix series. Just like that untapped audience that doesn't really engage with anything. They just, like, watch what comes on the TV. I don't know. I think you guys know what I mean. I'm explaining it super poorly. I don't have it all fleshed out. But, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, your shared screen looks like it has a dark filter. Yeah, what the heck's up with that? I don't know why that's happening. It shouldn't be. Like, I'm gonna have to work with plugins or something, because this is really, really, like, yeah, see, it's super dark. Could not tell you why that is. I've got nothing open right now that's, like, killing it, or, you know what I mean, like, nothing right now. Who knows? Maybe, let me try this. Will that work? No, that just took off the blue tint I had. I don't know, folks. Clearly something's happening with stream. Oh, I updated OBS, so maybe there's something I had to fix there. At the very least, at least we can see things right now. It works. Oh man, Corey says, I'm rewatching Justified again right now at the end of season 1. Dude, after our talk, like, months ago, I watched, like, the first 2 episodes again, and I meant to keep going, but I got distracted. Maybe that's what I'll do this weekend. Maybe I'll get right back into it. Yep, Andrew's 100%, like, on point here. If it's streaming on Netflix, it's considered mainstream instead of geek shit. Normies see it as a pass, same as what the MCU did for comic book characters. And I totally get that. It just feels... I kind of, maybe it's more of a fascination that where is that disconnect in the brain? Like, where is it that you go, okay, I can like the live action one, but if I liked the source material of it, I would be stupid and dumb and lame. Like, we know that that's the mentality. It's such a fascinating mentality to have, because I sort of feel like if you like the new one, you're already just get into the source material, especially when it comes to One Piece, because this is like the series is one of the most accurate adaptations ever made of anything, like from a comic book or a novel or just an adaptation. So it feels like just like, dude, it's okay to be an anime fan. Like, it's okay to say you like geeky things. We were sort of talking about this last night on Foil Variant, Andrew. But it's a big problem where in the West, all of these mediums, whether they be animation, comic books, video games, any of these, they're all looked at as infantile, right? Like if you read comic books, if you play video games, you're a loser, you're a baby, you're immature, you're a loser. Oh, why would you do a comic book? Why would I read a comic book when I could, read a novel? Why would I watch the anime when I can watch a live action version? That makes it okay. It's a thing that exists, and the reasons for it are very, very numerous. A lot of it has to do with, we had the chance in the early 50s, 40s, 60s with Walt Disney's rise and everything, but then animation sort of started being used almost primarily for advertising to children, especially in the States. And, they leaned into that more, and that sort of became the stereotype. And unfortunately, the stereotype hasn't been broken yet, because, what do I have to say? Go watch Barefoot Gen? Really? I don't even want to rewatch that again because it's heavy, but if you want serious storytelling, it's right there. And over in places honestly, France is really good with this. Japan's really good about this. Korea's slightly okay with this. But cartoons and animation are seen as legitimate forms to express yourself, to do creativity. People will read, that's the thing. With Shonen Jump, the reason they do Shonen Jump the way they do, black and white on this big tankobon with just a bunch of stuff and it's super cheap, it's because it's meant to be picked up by somebody, read on the subway, and just left. People leave those magazines around because they just see them as other magazines again. You read, let me grab Shonen Jump and read the latest chapter of One Piece on my way to work. Oh, let me grab Young Animal and check out the new Berserk chapter while I'm riding the subway home. Things like that. It's not frowned upon or chastised over in these other territories as much as it is specifically in America. America really doesn't like it. And so that's where that mentality stems from. The mental gymnastics one has to do individually to make that make sense is fascinating. I don't agree with it, and I wouldn't want to think like that, but it's sort of what would it be like to think like that? Is almost like if I could have a drug that just made me that dumb for an hour, I would be like, oh, I would try that just to see how you guys reach this conclusion. Yeah, it's such a shame too, because video games, comic books, all that stuff, there are so many incredible stories and things to be looked at and learned. Manga, comic books have some of the best fucking art just genuinely being made on this planet right now. But because it's dealing with characters in spandex, people go, this is dumb, stupid, I don't want to deal with it. And yeah, it's just a shame. I wish there was something. It's slowly changing, but it's fucking slow. Emphasis on slow. You guys might have seen, there's this semi-regular post that goes around Twitter, I want to say every 2 days, or 2 weeks rather, where it's animation is for adults, pass it on. The problem with that stupid shit is every time they say animation is for adults, they only retweet and share images from kids' media. Puss in Boots, Across the Spider-Verse, Toy Story, Up, okay, those are really good movies. I think it, on my personal movie list, Into the Spider-Verse is really, really high up there. It's easily in my top 5. But if I wanted to say animation is for adults, then I would, if I really meant it, show examples like Barefoot Gen, where it shows a full-on recreation of how the atomic bomb hit Japan. Show things like Heavy Metal, which is crass and rough and raw and just deals with that space fantasy that was so prevalent in that era. There are just so many. I am losing fuck, I can't remember what it is. There's this really, really devastating British cartoon about that was made in like the 50s or 60s that sort of was like what would happen if the bombs dropped, and it follows like this old couple as they survive in the last nuclear apocalypse. It is heartbreaking, it sucks, but it's powerful, and it's animation. But nobody ever brings that shit up because even the people who think they like animation haven't evolved past seeing it as cartoony. That is really it. Whenever anybody goes, animation is for like everyone, and they shared that cartoony stuff, they see, oh yeah, animation is evolving and it's more complicated now, and we can explore more complex themes, so it's for everyone. And it's like, A, these themes have been explored forever, you're not new, and B, you're still doing it, you're still limiting yourself to that this is only for kids ideology. And it really, really sucks because there's so much out there that would justify art being taken, like animation being taken seriously as a genuine art form. Let's see. Hey, dude, what is up? I know you stop by occasionally, but nice to see you, my brother. I didn't know you were in Arizona. Also, have you seen the fan animation Legend: A Dragon Ball Tale? Highly recommend. Yes, okay, I know you are out here. You've been out here our entire friendship. I am out here now because, I mean, here's some Mav lore for you. Oh, I should get like a graphic that when I push it, it goes like Mav lore. But 2020 or end of 2019, end of 2019, start of 2020, my entire life, COVID hit and everything fell apart for me. My long-term girlfriend left me. I got fired from my job. I had to, because I didn't have a job and I didn't have the other income from my partner or from my girlfriend, I had to move out of my apartment and I had to move back in with my parents. And long story short, that's how I'm in Arizona. That's where my parents are. So that's where I am. So if you ever want to hang out, my man, give me a shot. I've got some good food places to check out now that I've been here for a little while. Also, is Legend: A Dragon Ball Tale, is that the one where Goku goes like Super Saiyan, but it's like Sun Wukong Super Saiyan? I think I've seen that one, and I really liked that whole transformation art thing, whatever. So yeah, totally. I love that animation. I've been obsessed with the way his hair flows around ever since I've watched it, and but I don't know. I know there are like 500 million Dragon Ball fan animations out there. So you might have to specify that to me. Hey, we got a new player. We have Retro Lad saying, I can't wait for Sparking Zero. I'm looking for Sparking Zero players and content creators. If you're interested in our online matches and tournaments, we got 370 members so far since January. Oh man, I would definitely, Retro Lad, maybe I'll send you a message via YouTube. I don't even know how that particularly works, so I'll comment on a video. But yeah, I'd be in for it. We'll get into it very soon here. I am very surprised that my attitude on Sparking Zero is changing, because you guys may remember that for the longest time I was not completely hot on it. But we'll talk about it. But yeah, I would totally be interested in like an active community where I can actually play matches instead of waiting around for 8 years. Yes, thank you. Or watch Grave of the Fireflies and try to tell me animation is strictly for kids through your tears and heartbreak. That's what I'm saying. Show those as examples instead of, this is, look, it's the Mario movie where Mario has a panic attack. Like, okay, great. But you're not pushing anything. You're not saying this is for adults. You're just saying Mario had a panic attack in a kid's movie, right? Tackling real world things doesn't automatically make you a mature story or project. Hey, Volume Dealer's here saying Busty Dazzler. Yes, that's a good point. I don't think I mentioned it yet. Tonight's Stream Buddy is the Care Andrews foil variant cover to the new Dazzler series that Marvel is putting out. It is not the first issue. Quick review. So let me restart. Care Andrews foil variant cover to the latest Dazzler series that started this Wednesday. It is one of the prettiest covers I have seen in a long time. I have mine on pre-order. Andrew was showing it off last night on the show on foil variant. I'm so happy that I have this cover, even though the book itself is sort of mid. it's very much a riff on Taylor Swift as a mutant, so I kind of like it on that angle. Plus, it's got Strong Guy and Multiple Man as a supporting cast. So, so like I'm about that. To that end, what am I? Sorry, my sister opened the door and got our dogs for dinner time, and it threw me off. No, totally fine. You got to get them. You would have anything would have thrown me off. Don't even trip. Oh yeah, so I chose this as the stream buddy for tonight because it's a beautiful piece. I love Dazzler as a character. I love this costume in particular. I like the busty way that Kara Andrews drew her, but also we used this as our thumbnail, or our main thumbnail image for last night's first foil variant stream. So I have this up to tell you, go subscribe to Foil Variant. Go check us out every Thursday when we talk about the comics that just dropped and the ones that are coming out. And yes, Volume Dealer, I said fuck. We're far enough along in the stream playtime where I can start swearing again. It was really funny because at the beginning of the show, when the when everything wasn't working, I wanted to come on being like, get yo shit together, and I was like, oh, if I say shit, I'm probably gonna get in trouble again. Do you guys remember? Okay, remember last week how we watched the Gintama clips? I freaking whoops, my layout jumped up for some reason. That was really weird. I don't even remember what I'm saying anymore. Oh well, that point completely disappeared as I tried to fix all of this. I just noticed that the Volume Dealer's icon is covered there. I have it too low. Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. So last week, remember how we watched that Gintama clip? It was like 40 seconds, and Toei nuked the stream for 2 whole days, which sucks because, at least for me, I know I get a lot of at least like 10 or so viewers on Saturdays for my stream. So those didn't come in this week, and I was like, I don't get you, YouTube. Like, we were clearly talking about it. Be careful with anime and your stuff, especially stuff from Toei. Toei will get on your butt about anything you show. Jalem says, I watched the movie Grave of the Fireflies this week on Netflix. I enjoyed the story approach, but Barefoot Gen storyline is way better. They're different, obviously. They tell 2 different things. I don't know if I could pick which one I would prefer. It's really hard. I think I'm... Like, the Grave of the Fireflies ending is so brutal. It's so fucking brutal. Like, I'm almost like, I'm choking up over here thinking about it. But again, that atomic bomb scene from Barefoot Gen is one of the genuinely most haunting pieces of animation I think have ever really been watched or been produced. I would bring it up on stream for us to watch right now, but it's so... I think you guys need to go watch it yourself, because otherwise we would just be sitting here watching it, because it kind of is a completely silent scene of the bomb explosion taking out Hiroshima. It's brutal. I would go watch it if I were you guys. If you really want to feel like shit for the rest of the evening, I would highly go recommend you guys check it out. Shinkai says, I do not care about an art gallery, but fan art of anime and cool comics sign me up. I think I told you one of my favorite illustrators, like her designs and adaptations. Yeah, exactly. Like, art galleries are fine. I like going to them because more Mavlore, even though I don't really present it or come across like it, one of the hard truths I had to admit to myself in recent years is that I am very, very pretentious and very much an arty dude. So, like, I'll go to galleries, I'll go to book readings. Like, I am that kind of... If you get, like... I could probably very easily fit in an insufferable San Francisco bar conversation. Let's just put it that way, right? So, but to that end, one of the coolest things I've ever seen, Shinkai, was comic book galleries, right? Like comic book art galleries. There was, man, I can't remember where. There is a college somewhere in California. It's a community college. I want to say... I don't even want to guess because I'm going to get it wrong. But they, for a little while, were hosting a Jack Kirby art gallery where it had a bunch of his original art on the wall, like the penned ones, the ink ones, and you could see all of his notes. You could see where he pasted the word bubbles over for the letterers to see when they were doing their work. It's all super fascinating. But I agree with you. Like, cool comic art, fan art of anime and cool comics, like, you guys, you'll know how to get me. Like, that, half the reason I buy most of the covers I buy are because I think they're genuinely beautiful pieces of art. And someday I'm going to, like, this Dazzler is going to be hanging in my room someday when I'm 80 and still single, because women have clearly learned that it is not a smart idea to get invested in a comic book dork. Let's see. Volume Dealer asks, have you ever seen Fantastic Planet, French sci-fi animation from the 60s? Yes, I have, and I absolutely love it. It is weird. It's bizarre. It is this whole thing. But that's another good example, Volume Dealer, of animation. You can do lots of cool things with it, adult things with it, mature, weird things that don't have to necessarily be for kids. I mean, a really easy example, Yellow Submarine. You can just go look at Yellow Submarine. That wasn't a kid's movie, but it was in animation, and it worked, and it became a cultural phenomenon. Everybody knows the Blue Meanies. Everybody can easily identify the Yellow Submarine art style. So, yeah, no, Fantastic Planet is fantastic. I would highly recommend watching that one as well. I remember watching it as a kid, though, and it freaked me the hell out. Like that main alien. Let's see. This thing. Yeah, man, like, this shot, when it came on, as a kid, I was really, really like, yeah, I hate my life. This is scary. As a kid, I was really, really afraid of UFOs for some reason, and maybe that's why I'm such a UFO head now, because I'm taking it back. But yeah, this kind of stuff always freaked me out as a kid. Like, I had a book. I was really into space as a kid. I had a book that my grandma got me that was, oh, here's space, blah, blah, blah. Look at all the discoveries. And on the last page, after all of this, like, scientific, factual stuff about our solar system, you flip it, and it's like, but are we alone? And it shows this mock-up of these really creepy, like, really thin aliens with like, glass helmets, but their insides are like pink brain, exposed energy, and they're getting off of a craft. And I was like, that book, I couldn't get to the end of that book. It always scared me, because I'm like, what the are those things? Yeah, okay, Volume Dealer is right there. Yeah, FP was definitely creepy. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not alone in that. Yes, my first Prince says, my first introduction to Dazzler was the X-Men arcade machine cabinet. Such an awesome game. And then, yeah, like Volume Dealer points out, she's in it, but not playable. It's been so long. Yeah, she's like she's a cameo character, I believe, right? I believe she's, yeah. Oh, no, she is playable. That's right. Oh, no, wait. Is she playable? I don't remember it. Yes, she is playable. She is playable. She is playable. I just looked it up, Volume, so you're not wrong. It's just, like you said, it's been so long since either of us clearly played that game. That's one of the better just experiences, right? Like a good arcade experience. I feel like anybody you talk to who's sort of in our mid-30s, maybe, or let's say like late 20s to mid-30s, everybody says, like, oh, I love that game. Even casual people. Like, I have a lot of, like, friends who don't really play video games, who aren't really nerds or whatever, like a bunch of ladies. And then they go, oh, yeah, I used to play that when I was a kid at Nickel City. So there was definitely something in that design that made it work for everybody. Reeve asks, when's that next Xenoblade stream going to be? You know what? So I've been hinting in recent weeks that so I recently went through some really shitty life circumstances. I was dating somebody, and it ended really badly, and I'm still really heartbroken over it and all that sort of fun stuff. But more to the point, I now have a shitload of free time to do stuff. So I think as soon as foil variant, as soon as I've got that ironed out and that is ready to go, and I work out all those kinks, and then as soon as I update the stream here, I think then we'll start talking Xenoblade streams. So hopefully in the next weeks, like a week or two. I know it's been, what is it now, Reeve? We're at like fucking like 90 days almost of me having not played Xenoblade. We're going on 3 months, so it's ridiculous. I am taking the L. That's completely on me. Yeah, we're at 82 days or something. Yeah, we're getting up there. We're getting very, very close. Heretic Prince says, sorry to hear that, man. It's always hard. Hey, thank you guys. Yeah, it is hard. We're dealing with it. At least I have you guys to come hang out with on Friday nights. Trust me, genuine smiles right now. None of this is faking. So I'm glad I am able to hang out with you guys right now, every Friday, all of that fun stuff. All right, so now that we have finally hit a good sort of transition point, I wanted to jump over. Guys, I'm really stoked that you were all here to talk, and we've had these great discussions tonight, because look at this. We've gone an hour and a half into the stream, and we haven't even hit our first topic. And I'm really thankful for that, because I'll be honest, knowing that I had to angle away from comic book talk in favor of foil variant made me very cautious. As like, what am I going to talk about tonight? Where are we going to go? I even had emergency, okay guys, we're an hour in, I don't know what else to talk about, we're going to switch over to Xenoblade, we're going to switch over to Fortnite. I had alternatives ready to go. But so I'm genuinely happy. Thank you guys. Like this is awesome. Again, I love talking with y'all. I figure we had our guest Retro Lad, and it's obviously the main point of the thumbnail. It is it's in the title. It's all that fun stuff. I figured let's talk a little bit about the faded colored trailer for, or not trailer, but the complete roster reveal for, or just let's just talk about Dragon Ball Sparking Zero in general. So this came out the other week. It was not even the other week, yesterday. The full roster confirmation trailer for Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Crazy amount of people, 182 total fighters. They did that. They got to that number by splitting up all of the various characters into forms. We all know that. I mentioned this the other night. I think I actually talked to Andrew about this, but I do think having characters at separate forms as separate characters is a bit of a cop-out. I really do. I think one of the cool things about a Dragon Ball game would be powering up to that point. Sometimes I would understand if you picked Super Saiyan Blue over Super Saiyan 4, because technically those are two different branches of transformation, right? So I wasn't a big fan of that decision, but I was reminded by a good friend, that maybe this is a coincidence and just a little bit of serendipity, but when Master Roshi and Krillin and Goku go to that very first world tournament in Dragon Ball, the very first one that Goku ever goes to, Master Roshi makes a comment about, oh man, I knew there were going to be a bunch of fighters here. I didn't know there were going to be this many. There are 182 fighters here for this world tournament. And so I don't know if that was on purpose, but I thought that was a kind of a neat little thing, where 182 fighters in that first world tournament, 182 fighters in this new game. Here is the full bing bang boom of, and I know, Leon, if you're out there, Andrew can tell you this, your catchphrase has found its way into my vernacular, bingo bango. I say it all the time when I'm saying yes, correct, affirmative. Oh yeah, that's right, the trailer's not over yet, so we have one more, yay! Yes, excited to mash buttons with the homies. If you have this, let's get back onto those online lobbies, brother. We were raised in Halo 2. We can show these kids how to use Broly. Oh yeah, no, Leon's owed at this point, Andrew, what is it? It's got to be at least $20 if we're doing nickels at this point. I owe Leon at least $20. Maybe I'll super chat him and be like, here's your royalty check. Shinkai says, I see 18 and Super Saiyan 4. I'm happy. Go back. Or I guess I got to keep doing all the introductions. Yeah, so I'm really, in general, I'm pretty excited about the roster. I Super Saiyan 4, you guys, I already talked about my thoughts on that. I'm really excited for to play as them. Metal Cooler, if you guys know me, I love Cooler in general. He's probably my favorite real villain, if you will, a filler villain, I guess is the best way to describe him. But yeah, this game's got all the movie villains, it's got all of the special villains, it's got basically almost everyone. Garlic Jr., who even remembers him, right? So if you guys have been here, if you've talked to, or if you've even talked to me over the last couple of weeks, you'll know that like Dr. Wheelo, who the hell would have remembered to put Dr. Wheelo? I feel like I'm the only person who remembers Dr. Wheelo exists, and that's because I use him as a leader card in one of the Dragon Ball card games. I feel like that's the only reason I remember he exists, and I can't believe they're throwing him in here. Anyway, so also Turles, I like Turles a lot. I don't know what it is. Like I don't have any deep argument or reason as to why I like him. I just like him. I just like Turles. Evil Goku. Yeah, see, I remember the 3 OG DBZ movies. Have you not watched any of the ones past that, Andrew? Like, you haven't watched, like, Super Android 13 or any of the Broly stuff? Or are you just saying, no, I remember them too? Okay, now I track. Yeah, I love those 3 OG DBZ movies. Tree of Might is my favorite, like, it's got a lot of good animation and fighting and stuff. Just that one scene where Goku is like hit by Turles and he like flips in the air and he hits the ground and he like skids back, but he's like in a mid running pose and then he starts running again like once his momentum stops. I've always like that's been a favorite clip of mine forever. Okay, see, that's why I was surprised there, Andrew. I was like, really? You haven't seen all of these? Like, that's genuinely surprising. Like, I was stunned. That's why I was asking. So yes, big old fucking roster of characters here. Let's see. Yeah, like I said, the highlights for me, you've got, pardon me. Goodness, where are they? The, like, Super Saiyan 4s are over here. Yeah, right there. There's Goku, Vegeta. I like that Cooler is here with all 3 of his forms. This is a weird out-of-pocket one, but I like these 3 members of the Ribbon Trio. I know they kind of don't really do anything in Super, but they are inspired by Magical Girls. Like, they are a take on, like, Sailor Moon, Madoka, all that stuff. So they have a special place in my heart, and I'm excited to sort of see them in action. If you guys remember all the old Budokai games, right? One of the things that was sort of... I don't know if this is the best way to describe it. This is how I always described it. They sort of cheated to get a lot of their characters in because they'd be like, oh, here's Kui from... And I mean, Kui's in here too. He's down here in the bottom right next to Lord Slug. But they're like, here's Kui. And then they just give him generic attacks, like a generic Beam Blast and a generic Ki Blast and a generic, like, Punch. I wonder how much of that they're going to keep for this game. Because again, like the Ribbon Trio, they're not on screen enough to have a full roster of moves. Neither is somebody like Kui. Neither is somebody like a Cyberman, really. So I wonder how they're going to handle that. Just a curiosity. I don't really have a commentary on it, just a curiosity. Okay, yeah, all right, good. Andrew says, I've seen everything up until Super, only seen the first 12 eps and the Broly movie. You gotta see Superhero, man. You gotta watch Superhero. It's so good. It's so pretty. It's so pretty! Yeah, Shinkai, I agree. It would have been funny if we got the entire Pilaf gang. I'm still holding out for the day. Maybe it'll be like the last Dragon Ball game they ever make. But someday, somebody will make a game where you can play as the farmer who shoots at Raditz when he first lands on Earth, and Raditz like scans him and he has like 5 power level or whatever. The day he's in a game, I will officially be ready to declare this is the GOATest Dragon Ball experience of all time. Andrew says, I hate Gohan though. He only appears at the end. Like it is a Piccolo adventure, and it's pretty great for it. And the 2 enemies, the Gammas, I think you'll really like the Gammas when all is said and done. So one thing before I move. What am I saying? One thing I need to point out, and maybe you guys in the chat can help me out here. Gohan's a character in it, and he's around, but he doesn't show up until like Act 3 climax. Like obviously we all know he goes beast at the end to win the fight. That's pretty much all he does. Yeah, so if you don't like Gohan, don't worry about it. It's still a good time. No, he is not the focal point. Technically, Pan is the focal point, right? Pan and Piccolo. So, like I said, Gohan's around. he is not a focal point at all. He's just sort of the Deus Ex Machina who comes in at the end and saves the day. So one thing that really bugs me about this, how the hell are these characters organized? Like, I just, so for example, right, up here, Goku Black. All right, that looks pretty good. That, you know, they're all clustered together in fours. The Cell Gang, okay, they're all clustered together in fours. Got it. But then you get over here to, like, Goku, right? And then Goku starts here, and then you weave this weird path where I'm going around here, and I'm going here, and then it's like, okay, so partly over here you have the Gogeta fusions, but they're broken up by Goku, and then for some reason you throw the Vegito fusions all the way over here. That is an odd choice. And then even weirder, like you go, here's Vegeta, like their standard Vegeta. Here's Vegeta, like Saiyan Saga Vegeta, God Blue Vegeta, God Vegeta. Okay, but then if you want Majin Vegeta, you got to go all the way over here. If you want World Tournament regular Vegeta, you got to go all the way to the left over here. I genuinely am at a loss for what the fuck they're trying to do. Oh, if you want regular Saiyan Saga Vegeta, got to go up here. It's so... I don't know the rhyme or reason to it. Maybe one of you guys out there can reveal something to me that I'm not seeing, but like the most consistent design choice I see. Dude, am I right, Andrew? The character select screen is making my OCD scream. It bothers me. I don't know what the hell they're doing. WTF, is that Yajirobe? Oh, where's Yajirobe? I didn't even see him. Oh, hell yeah, he's down there at the bottom. My boy, Yajirobe! That's so sick. I'm happy to see Yajirobe. But to me, like, the only consistent design thing here is that the movie villains are on the outside, like we were seeing from that trailer that we just watched, right? Like Janemba, Bojack's here, Herdigarn, Android 13, Cooler, Turles, Wheelo, Garlic, Slug, all... That seems to be the only consistent thing. Like, I go over here... Let me ask you a question, guys. If you had a big roster of all these Dragon Ball characters in all these different forms, who would you say you would put, like, smack dab center stage? Easy choice would be, like, maybe standard Goku and standard Vegeta, or Super Saiyan Goku and Super Saiyan Vegeta, right? Like, the sort of your mascot characters. Well, if we go here, we've got Goku in the middle, technically, where you've got... But it's like, here's UI... or like UI plus UI, and then a Super Saiyan Vegeta, and then over here it's like the next Goku over isn't even like Super Saiyan Goku, it's regular Goku, and then you've got to do my stupid path thing where you go Goku, Kid Goku, and you're going all around, and it makes... I don't know what is even happening here. And then there's shit here that bugs me, right? So you've got all of Cell together. And okay, Android 18's there. Cool. That makes sort of sense. They're in the same... they're androids. They both came from Dr. Gero. Yeah, like that makes sense. Group them together. They're part of the same arc. But then Dr. Gero and 19 are all the way down here at the bottom. Oh, my cursor's not showing right now. Why? That's not helpful. Let me see if I can get that to pop up. Properties. Oh, no, it should be capturing my cursor. That's a bummer that it... apparently... Oh, no, it is. Okay, we're back. So, yeah. Like, down here, you have Dr. Gero and Android 19, and then 17 is over here, randomly. Like, both versions of 17 are randomly over here. And now I just noticed, why did they give Super 17 his own slot, but Super 18 doesn't have her own slot? That's a little bizarre. Huh. I'm, like, genuinely stunned by that decision. But then, okay, let's look at my boy Trunks. You know me, I love my Trunks. Well, I see here's Trunks in Saiyan armor during the Android Saga over here. But then Future Trunks is down here from Super. And then, God, where even is regular Future Trunks? Or, like, Z Future Trunks? I can't find him easily. He is maybe not even on the damn roster. No, he's got to be around here somewhere. I mean, Kid Trunks is right there. Did they just throw Future Trunks into his Super Trunks too? That would actually kind of piss me off. So odd. Again, I'm not seeing the rhyme or reason here for any of this. So yeah, like I don't know. And it bugs. Yeah, exactly, Shinkai. I can only say that someone was drunk when making the roster order. That's kind of where I'm at, Shinkai. Like, I sit here, and I try my hardest to go, what are they organized by? Is it by saga? Is it by, like, introduction? Is it by power level? And just none of it tracks. And, like, I know that this is going to piss the hell out of me, or piss me the hell off when we play this game, because... Look at this! Look at this, guys! Where's my cursor? Come back. There's a Goku out here. Why is there a Goku out here? Which Goku even is this? Why is he so far away from everybody over here? I don't know, man. And then, like, we have the Super Broly, right? Or the original movie Broly is right here, but Super is all the way over here. Right? You have Gohan is generally in this corner up here. Like, I've got Kid Gohan, Teen Gohan, Gohan versus Cell, and Gohan Super Saiyan 2 versus Cell. And then Gohan Unlocked Potential is all the way over here, and Saiyaman is randomly right here. I mean, Vidal's over here. You can't even put her next to the Saiyaman. It's so... Somebody... I feel... I don't know, man. Like, if I can't even make a proper thought on what the hell is going on here. So that's just been something that's bugging me ever since they finished this reveal, because I already think this is sort of a very clunky UI. There's a lot going on here. It's really hard to sort of identify which specific character you want. Generally, I'm going to go into the graphic design mode for a moment, but generally, if there were maybe like 8 characters on the screen, right? You went in and it was like Goku, Piccolo, Vegeta, Gohan, Buu, Cell, Frieza, Nappa. I don't know. You could do image only for their character select screen, because there's so few of them that the artwork, you have a lot of space for the artwork to show off and shine and be looked at. Here, you don't have that space. And so everything is really cramped, and you have to sort of squint and go, is that the character I really want? And it's especially bad when you're getting into various different versions of that character, right? For example, right here next to each other is Piccolo from the World Tournament, and then Piccolo during the Android Saga. We all know they're different, like, and all players will probably know they're different. But from right here, if I don't memorize the icons, I'm going to be completely lost and go, is that Piccolo? Which one is that? And it bugs me. And to counter that, I know a lot of people will counter like, oh, but what about a game like Smash Brothers, where it's got all of its roster on that select screen and their names don't pop up until you pick them, right? They're all represented by heads. Well, I push back on that in that gets away with it, or it works for Smash because they're all uniform. They're all that sort of like this, right? Like, they're all looking, you've got that big white space for them, and they're all sort of looking forward. You can tell everybody is different in that way. And that's also another big thing, is that a lot of those none of those characters in their face designs, or like their silhouettes, or just general designs, are going to be mistaken for one another. You might get someone who goes, oh, was that Pichu and Pikachu? You might get somebody who goes, oh, was that Roy or was that Marth? But in general, you're going to get, it's very clearly delineated. So this genuinely feels like somebody was making a Deviant Art roster and just threw all the characters they wanted in there without any rhyme or reason, because there is no rhyme or reason. And it's going to bug the hell out of me. Someday some developer will give an interview and I will get my answer to what the hell is going on, but it's clearly not going to be today. Yeah, Shinkai, like, that's what I'm wondering is, can you filter them by like arc or specific character or whatever? I want to say common sense says that that's going to be a thing, but this is the modern video game industry. Common sense does not exist within these walls. So, the main point, or like a point I've been trying to make for a little bit now, and we keep getting distracted, and that's fine. Like, I really like that we're getting distracted, but I don't even know what that is. 11 hours ago. Is this, oh, it's just a general trailer for the game. Yay, everything's coming. Woo, 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 woo. So, okay, I gotta look this up really quick, because where is it? I had it a second ago. Yeah, there we go. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? All of these things. Gosh. I'm trying to find it. Hold on, guys. I can do this. I can do this. There it is. Thank you, IGN. Sometimes you're useful for things. So, a lot of you guys, again, if you guys have talked to me over recent months or watched the show at any point over the past couple months, you'll know that every time I've talked about Super or about Sparking Zero, I haven't really been that jazzed on it. I've been sort of unenthused. I surprisingly got on the bent of, it just looks like another Dragon Ball game. Like, it looks fine. I've been here before. I've played Xenoverse 2. I played Fighters. I played Budokai 3, Budokai Tenkaichis, all of those. So for the longest time, I was sort of like, I know what it is, right? Like, I'm going to go play all the sagas. It's going to play like Xenoverse, fine. But they recently introduced, and this is what I was looking for, or revealed, that they're going to have a bunch of essentially what-if scenarios in this game, which they've done a couple times before, but this is the kind of shit I live for. This is the alternate universe sort of things I like. Like, when there's a multiverse, I've talked about this before, to me, a multiverse should hinge on a specific change to a specific decision. A specific moment in time is altered. Whether that's something as big as what's happening in this scenario where Goku survives Raditz's initial attack, or it's something like a character decided to eat a different cereal for the day. That, to me, is how you should do multiverses, not, oh, what if this was the multiverse where everybody was, Korean, everybody was black, everybody had a Samsung flip phone. That, to me, is just lazy and isn't really fun. This is the kind of stuff where I'm like, yes, this is interesting. This shows us what actually could have been. Like, this was how Marvel used to do their What If series back in the day. Like, what if Kraven actually killed Spider-Man? What if Mr. Fantastic didn't stop Galactus? So I'm really, I saw this come out, and admittedly, I haven't been paying the closest attention to this game, so maybe this was already something we knew about. But as soon as I learned that we were getting these sort of alternate scenarios, I went, damn it. Damn you, Sparking Zero. You know how to, like, pull my number. You absolutely know how to pull my number. So, like, I am probably going to pick up Sparking Zero. Obviously, Retro Lad was in here a little earlier looking for players to play multiplayer matches. I would be super into that and just generally streaming a bunch of stuff. I don't know. You guys know me. It's Dragon Ball. As much as I protest, 9 times out of 10, I'm almost certainly going to check out or pick up whatever that new game or product is, unless it is something that everybody says is completely horseshit. Then I'll probably pick it up. I mean, or not pick it up, but check it out. I mean, I even checked out Dokkan Battle. It was really stupid, and I didn't have fun with it, and I don't play it anymore. It's not even on my phone, but I tried it out. So yeah, obviously they're going through the whole scenario here. They fight, blah, 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 blah. And then we get to, Goku, special beam cannon, but instead of Raditz getting hit, Goku didn't have to stun him. Piccolo just got him. So that, to me, I like that sort of stuff. I'm super excited for it. This is really weird. Why didn't they show him with a hole in his chest? This is fucking weird, right? I'm not alone in thinking this is super at least put like a big black burn mark on his stomach to show that something happened, instead of just letting him sort of inch forward and. Modern audiences, everybody. I mean, we know Bandai Namco is fully on that sort of modern audiences bent. Again, this is not a culture war show. We're not going to get into that, but it is something that needs to be addressed. So those are sort of my thoughts on Sparking Zero. Really happy to see the GT characters and the movie characters. Really, really interested in seeing all of these different what if scenarios, because we've seen, I forget which game did it before. I want to say it was like Dragon Ball World or whatever. Some crappy game back in the day did alternate scenarios, and it was cool then. It's still cool now. I want to check that out. I saw one thing I did notice, and it's too hard for me to grab the footage of it right now because it could be anywhere. But in the game, I saw when you block, instead of just like standing there and taking the block, they've animated like the DBZ like swish swish like dodging. And like quick dodging, and I thought that looked really, really cool, and something about that got my hype going, right? It's sort of like it's Dragon Ball. I'm repeating myself at this point. If it's Dragon Ball, you guys know me. I'm gonna check it out. So yeah, could be a really cool time. Could be a really let's hope it is. I mean, everything so far, even if I do think it looks standardish, it looks impressive. It doesn't look bad. It looks like people will definitely have fun playing it. Oh man, this just reminds me before we close out the Sparking Zero topic. Shout out to my good buddy Marvin the Movie Monster. We were talking about this game on his stream last night, Tooneytown TV, and he what did he say? He was like, "Oh no, this is this isn't Dragon Ball Zero. This is you can't call it Dragon Ball Sparkling Zero unless it was made in like the Dragon Ball region of Bandai Namco." And I laughed at that, especially because technically Sparking Zero is the Japanese name, but when it came over to the West, they called it Budokai Tenkaichi. So the joke sort of like works in a really dorky, lame kind of way. So keeps bringing a smile on my face. Yeah, Andrew says might be cool, and that's pretty much the biggest takeaway I can give of this is might be cool. You guys have might before revealing the what if scenarios. You had me at all right, sure, it's out there, but now you've got me at all right, I'll check it out. If they really, really want to win me over, and I mean, who the fuck am I? You guys don't have to do this. This is a personal thing. If I, like, the one thing I know that would really, really get me into the game is if they brought back the whatchamacallit, the what if fusions, I guess is the best way to say it, right? So back in at least Budokai Tenkaichi 2, there was like, you could do the fusion dance as Goku and Hercule. You could do it as Tien and Yamcha. Majin Buu could absorb Cell or Frieza or Mr. Satan or Goku or Krillin and stuff. So, and obviously that's stuff you didn't see before in the regular show. So put in more stuff like that actually gives us new Dragon Ball stuff and isn't just full one-to-one retreading everything we've done before. Because guys, Dragon Ball's been around since the 80s. We've covered the story. I think almost everyone, like in Japan at least, almost everyone could probably give you a one-to-one recap of at least the order of the arcs, right? And how that stuff goes down. If not the specific chain of events, they could at least say like Saiyans, then Frieza, then Cell, then Buu. So, yeah, no, I mean, they won me over when they revealed Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. That was awesome, don't get me wrong, but it didn't quite, I wouldn't put it in win me over status because I can play as Gogeta in, like Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta in Xenoverse. I can play as him in Fighters. So it was cool. Like, I'm glad he was there, but at least for me, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta was one of those, like, gimmies. Even the Super Saiyan 4 crew was a gimme. As excited as I am to see Goku in action again, it was sort of a gimme because it's like, they've been around, they're doing a really, really big roster, we'll probably get Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. So, yeah, definitely, all intents and purposes, this game looks great. I will probably pick it up. I will probably do some level of streaming for it so that we can all hang out, talk, and you guys can mock me as I try my best to make the Great Saiyan Man a viable character in some way, shape, or form. But until then, yeah, the game comes out October 11th, 2 weeks away from now. So until then, we're just going to have to hang out, keep watching whatever preview materials they put out, and just hope at the very least they don't drop surprise microtransactions out the wahoo on us, right? Like that at this point is what I'm trying to avoid. All right, though. We are at 2 hours into this stream. I think that's probably going to be a good place to call it nowadays. Again, without comic book talk, I have to readjust what we're going to talk about on the stream. So I think 2 hours is probably great. Sans comic book talk. Comic book talk would have probably taken us to our regular 2 hours and 30 minute stop time. So with that all being said, I would like to, yeah, right, exactly, Zero. Oh wow. Yeah, that's going to be a bit short. I mean, normally I always do aim for 2.5 hours at max. I don't like going for 3 because I've said this before. 3 hours, for some reason, YouTube nukes my, what is my hair doing? YouTube nukes my visibility if my stream hits that 3 hour mark. I don't know why it is. You can see in my archives, right? Normal streams get around 40 to 60 streams per stream. If it's a longer one, they get like 20. I don't know what the hell that is. But it is what it is, so I try to avoid it. Yeah, so I think 2 hours is good for the first post foil variant launch stream. Take my comics out of the main conversation. So with that, guys, I want to thank absolutely every single one of you for coming out and hanging out with me tonight. We had a bunch of great discussions. We had a bunch of good talk. You guys were so active, so engaged. It made me so happy because, as you all know, the entire reason for this show is to have a good, I want to talk to you guys. I want to hear your thoughts. Let's talk about what you want to talk about. You hear so much from talking heads all week. Let's talk about things that are fun, maybe things that we like, laugh about stuff, all that good stuff. I felt like we accomplished that here today. So thank you all for hanging out, whether it was Bird or Reeve or Heretic or Shinkai or Andrew or Corey or Zero, or Banana was here, or Retro Lad, or Duck was here for a long time. I want to say Shinkai because for some reason I always feel like I forget Shinkai, even though I don't. Obviously Timon, how could I even forget to mention my boy? So yes, thank you guys all for hanging out with me. If it was a blast. Yeah, later Corey, later Zero. I'm sure I will talk to you all very soon. Timon asked, do you have a Discord? That I know you're asking, Zero. That is something I need to do. I think obviously I'm gonna hop off the stream. I got to take care of some bounding work, and then we will, and then I will probably look into doing that. I know I need to make a Discord. I want to make that really soon. As soon as I do, I will blast that out over over Twitter. It'll be a general Kabuto writer stream just for us to hang out and talk about whatever. So look forward to that. I'm definitely doing that. Side fucking note, I think I need to take just 1 minute here to close this shit out. Because it sparked into my mind because I said I gotta go do bounding work and I wrote that story earlier. Concord. I'm sure everybody at this point has seen Colin Moriarty's report where he spoke to a dev who worked on Concord. He's putting his reputation on the line and saying he trusts him, verified him. So I tend to believe this is true. According to the insider sources, not only did Concord cost $400 fucking million, $400 million. That is more than not only Avengers Age of Ultron, which was like 365. It's more than Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and that was like 380, 390. It's historically an insane budget. And apparently the story goes that the game was in a really rough state when it was acquired, like about 8 months ago. It was in a really shitty state after Sony had already spent $200,000 on it. And so they decided, instead of delaying it or listening to feedback or anything, they were just going to sink another $200 million into its development. And we all know how that turned out, because when the Concord server shut down, Sony gave everybody a full refund. So they maybe took home... So all the refunds were automatic. So if you bought it digitally, you were getting that... You got that automatically. You would have logged in and you would have seen you got whatever PSN credit, yada, 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 yada. if you had a physical one, you would have had to go, you were still getting a refund, but you had to go to whatever retailer you got it from, so GameStop, Best Buy, whatever, and go through their refund process. And then their corporate would work with Sony to get all the money back to the store. You guys know how that goes. So I presume not everybody went for the refund, because that's just how it happens sometimes. People get lazy, they forget, they go, whatever, it's $60. So at best, considering the game pulled in only like 25,000 players, like total, or sold 25,000 copies, maybe a couple dozen, maybe a few handful of a dozen of people didn't refund. So maybe Concord pulled in $500. But A, that they still have time to get the refund, so that could go down. And B, that's still $500 off of 400 million. Like, this entire thing to me is a key. So this was apparently being pushed by Herman Hulst, the CEO of Sony Entertainment Interactive. He apparently wanted this game. He just needed it. He thought it was going to be the future of PlayStation. It was being referred to internally as a Star Wars level property for Sony that you could revisit in different mediums and different experiences and love these characters for the rest of your life. That's how they were approaching all of this shit. And unfortunately, what the dev also revealed was that there was no dissent allowed. Like, it was toxically positive. There was a toxic positivity environment there where you could not criticize, you could not give negative feedback. You had to sort of just nod your head and go, okay, that is really good. Even if it ended up with the character designs like we saw out of Concord, right? So all of that, all of this information, it basically reveals that, like, we all, like, this game was sort of almost always fated to, like, just everything in its DNA was bad. The development process, the fact that it wanted to ape Overwatch that hard, the fact that it stole or, like, aped off of Guardians of the Galaxy really hard and all this stuff, all of that's bad. But I think what this reveals is that there's, you know, I talk about this a lot. We even talked about it a little bit at the top of the show. Like, what's going on in these boardrooms where these decisions keep getting made? Because even if you wanted to buy into the full like the full-blown thought that everything that, like, Disney or Sony is doing is funded 100% by BlackRock or whatever, at a certain point like, even BlackRock would go, that's a lot of red. Like, that's a lot of negative dollar signs. What the hell are you guys doing? So the fact that that hasn't happened yet, it just is so baffling. But I think this episode gives an insight where I think the executives at these entertainment companies nowadays, they, you know, I talk about this all the time. Yeah, exactly. What's going on? Cue meme. We gotta have money. Like, to me, the thing that it reveals is that the people at the higher ups are out of touch nowadays. They don't understand the market that they're doing, and they think that whatever they do is just going to be a guaranteed hit. There's no other explanation for why they barreled so hard on Concord, right? To me, it feels like Herman Hulst and everybody at Firewalk, at Sony, it's like a bad gambling addiction, right? Pardon me. They went into Vegas with $400 million, and all the entire time they just kept losing it and losing it and losing it. And at the $200,000 mark, when their first, you know, whatever they pulled out initially from the ATM, once that was gone, instead of going, maybe I go to a different table, maybe I stop playing for the night, maybe I don't play at all, maybe I, you know, doing anything else, they said, no, I'm going to stay right at this craps table because I know my time is coming soon. I know exactly what you're referring to. That was just, it popped into my head, the Money Money song. So that's on me, Shinkai. But yeah, it feels like, you know, instead of that, they went, oh no, it's gonna hit eventually. I know it's gonna win. It's gonna save everything. And now they're down to their last $500, and they're still, like, they finally admitted, okay, yeah, maybe. And it wasn't even their own decision that led them to say, yeah, maybe this was a bad idea. It was market. Like, if it weren't for the market, they'd still be hustling and pushing this thing and rolling on into the years, even if, like, they didn't. It's just all around disastrous. People need to learn how to take feedback. If this keeps up, I mean, Sony, what, you thought this was the future of your company? Like, even strip away all of the cringe from Concord, right? Look at just the base concept of it. You thought a hero shooter in the year of our Lord 2024 was the future of your company? At a time when you guys can't even snag an exclusive or make a console that anybody really wants to buy, or like, remember again, speaking of them being outdated, remember the stupid, they have that handheld PS5 thing, right? Where you can remote stream from your PS5 to this handheld device. That's kind of like a Switch. Problem is, you have to be local. You have to be right fucking there. I can't be, like, I couldn't fly out to Andrew's house in Texas and play it there. I couldn't go, watch my baby niece and play it over at my sister's house. I would have to be sitting right here at home to play it, which is bonkers. And then there's the fact that, like, it has a proprietary headphone system that you can only get Bluetooth headphone connection through their special Sony handheld headphones. It's a mess over there. It's a mess. This is why I keep advocating for a crash. These people aren't learning their lessons. And I feel bad for the people who, like, there's just like a texture designer who's going to have this failure on their resume for the rest of their life. I do feel bad for them. But at the same time, you can't just keep saying, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, without a fail state, right? Like, I've worked at way too many jobs and consulted at way too many places where their approach to things was, oh, yeah, if we want our employees to do something, we'll just keep asking them. And I'm like, you can't, sometimes if it's not getting through, you have to put in a fail state. You have to say, okay, if you don't start doing this, I'm going to dock your pay, or I'm going to send you home early. Like, it sucks, and you would rather not have to do it, but sometimes that, putting a hard stop is the only way somebody will learn how to change the behavior. And nobody's doing that over at Sony. I mean, a lot of these video game studios, but we're talking about Sony in particular right here. So nobody's doing that. And again, budgets are blowing out. $400 million should not have been spent on a video game. Ever. I'm sorry. Like, I don't think that amount of money should have been spent on Age of Ultron or Dial of Destiny. Sure as shit. Not a Guardians of the Galaxy ripoff thing. Right? Like, it's not even it's just all around bad. The video game industry needs to crash so that we can do it needs to crash so that people can go, okay, we are now in the position where we have to realign, we have to look at what we're doing, and we have to start making good games instead of just pumping out dog shit, like everything out of Ubisoft. I mean, I am so impressed that Ubisoft keeps dropping this. The week of press for Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed Shadow was basically, oh yeah, we're doing everything. This is going to be the most beautiful Assassin's Creed game, the best technology, we're being faithful. And then they released like the world premiere or like a world tour trailer that showed off all the environments, and like characters are clipping through everything. Everything looks wrong. There's very low graphical fidelity. Just video game industry is cooked right now for the large part. Sometimes we get the occasional win with, something like Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Or what else? What has anybody even been playing lately? I have been so out of the video game loop. I've been a Fortnite nerd. I think we all understand this, but like when a breakup happens, people tend to like just throw themselves into something new and random because it's a distraction. That's me in Fortnite. I couldn't, like, during the beginning stages of everything, I was like unable to sleep and whatever. So I was just playing Fortnite until the sun came up. Exactly. This ain't 2016 Overwatch, Sony. I mean, even in 2016, saying we're going to develop a hero shooter now was a really kind of a dumb move. A few of them like got out the gate, but nothing really took off the way Overwatch did. So it's just all around stupid. Yeah, Shinkai points it out. 50% of gamblers stop before they win, so keep rolling. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the mentality that I was trying to communicate there, Shinkai. That's how I feel Herman Hulst and all the leadership at Sony has to be thinking right now. And then, yeah, but in all honesty, probably making worse decisions than a gambler. They took a full loss of near, like, the entire amount of $400,000. That is, in a sane world, heads would roll. People would be losing jobs. We would be seeing change. But unfortunately, that probably won't happen given the current state of the industry. So, congratulations on blowing all your money, Sony. I mean, you could have spent maybe a 16th of that and given me a new Tokyo Jungle. That would have been really, really cool. It's also great that Astrobot is kicking the ass out of Concord, because that's the remnants of Team Japan, who you shut down to allocate more resources to this bullshit. So, all in all, karma does exist. You know, it's like pottery. It rhymes. And not a giant win, but a W nonetheless, right? We can all take it to the bank and laugh at the misfortunes of Ubisoft and Sony and all of that. So that, I just wanted to touch upon that, because as you can tell, like, the 400 million is just bonker. I can't even come up with a devil's advocate reason for why that was okay, why they thought any of that would work. So I just needed to get that out. But yes, now with that, now it's more like a proper stream. Now we are at 2 hours and 16 minutes. So thank you, everybody. So Zero, Shinkai, Wolf, Timon, everybody who was hanging around for that last little rambling. We will close it out tonight. So yes, thank you guys for hanging out. Oh, Volume Dealer says Concord Landfill Edition. Zero also said Assassin's Creed Racismus, and then Concord Landfill Edition. I hope I can find a physical copy of Concord out there. I got some errands to run tomorrow that'll take me to big box stores. So come on, Target, help a brother out there. Give me one of the rarest, most hilarious pieces of video game memorabilia of all time. All right, yes. So with that, everyone, thank you, Zero, for sticking around for the ride. This was an awesome stream. I had so much fun. I hope you guys did too. Here's to your weekends. Go have fun. Go play something great. Go read something awesome. Remember, there is good stuff out there, even if 98% of it is crappy. And it's on us to highlight and talk about and seek out the good stuff, and not just wallow in Agatha all along. So, if you guys, as always, you can go check out boundingintocomics.com every day, where I'm putting up new news articles almost every day. I've been working on weekends a little more often now because of my current development, but we'll see how long that keeps up. Check out the YouTube channel every day, where Cider is absolutely killing it. We just hit 20,000 subscribers. We will be having a subscriber celebration stream over on Bounding tomorrow, the 20,000 subscriber stream. 3 p.m. Pacific time, whatever that is for you guys. Be there. I'll be hanging out with Cider. We're just going to be kicking back, laughing, all that sort of fun stuff. If you want to see more of me personally, obviously you can hit me up right there on Twitter at Kabuto Rider Mav. You can also follow, you're here. Hopefully you already hit that bell, that subscribe, all that fun stuff, so you can catch the next episode of Good Mav Ugly, which, as always, will happen same Mav time, same Mav channel next week. And who knows what we'll talk about? It's always, like you guys know, it's always about what happens in the week preceding, and nobody can predict that. Nobody can predict that. Just look at all the developments we got. We've made it to the end of the week for that Concord bomb to drop, right? Like that, stuff like that doesn't happen every week. So you can check me out, my channel, Bounding Into Comics. Of course, you can also check me out on Foil Variant, where I will be where Andrew and I get together every Thursday night at 4 p.m. Pacific time to talk about everything comic books, from news to new releases to what we're reading to what we're looking forward to. Next week is going to be a pretty fun one. We are going to be going through the December solicits for Marvel, DC, Image, all that fun stuff. It's always really fun to go through solicits, to just look at the covers, see what might be coming, speculate, all of that. Yes, thank you, Andrew. You had the link. The thing didn't extend far enough to get the original one. Let me fix this so that it actually doesn't look... Oh, that's just how it's going to do it now. Okay, fine. I was going to try and stretch it out, but it doesn't want to do it. So yes, go right there. Hit that link. Andrew dropped it in the chat. Foil Variant. It has been a lot of fun so far, and it's only going to keep getting more fun as time goes on. Speaking of Foil Variant, we do have, like I said, like I promised, our last calls are back. And this week I figured I would like to share with you guys the intro I did, or that I edited, for Foil Variant. It's nothing, too crazy, but it took a lot of work. I cut up an old 1950s educational film for a bunch of things. Like, if you saw the workstation, it's a mess. But I thought the finished product is really cool. It's been stuck in my head all day, so I figured I'd let you guys take a look at it before we head on out of here.
Never before have we had greater face a complex, rapidly changing world. Think of it a moment.
It is a world in which supersonic speeds are commonplace. It is a world that has seen the coming of the atomic bomb. It has seen the rise of the total state, the dictator, and the mass man. It is a world of new sensations, new excitements, new distractions.
So much to be learned by so many in so little time.
And I suppose you're here with no agenda, as per usual?
On the contrary, I'm here for comics.
How's your comic book?
Oh no! Oh, I forgot that it fades out. It cut off my favorite part at the very end. There's the clip of what's her name at the very end of Mallrats asking Brody, "How's your comic book collection, Brody?" Because she knows that he's on the other side of the like mystery date thing. Dang, little sad that cut off because that's been my favorite part. I didn't fuck it up. You fucked it up. Yeah, that little bit has been stuck in my head all day. The "How's your comic book collection, Brody?" I mean, if you follow me on Twitter, you probably definitely saw that I just tweeted that shot out today. So yeah, foil variant intro. I think it's pretty neat. I love doing video editing stuff and that. So I just wanted to show it off. Go subscribe to foil variant right now. I will see you all Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, depending on which show you decide to tune in on. And yeah, until then, go enjoy your weekend, go have fun, relax, and take it easy.
As the creator of Mara Jade,
Wait! I am not the creator of Mara Jade, and I want you to get out of this office right now.
I'm sorry, Zeb.
No way.
You brought
No
it on
way.
You brought it on yourself.
I don't want you here.
I'm so
Out.
sorry, George. I didn't think it would go like this.
Out.
Jen, I got your voucher.
Out! There.
I'm sorry about that. I'm so sorry. We'll have him like burned and we'll
I don't
execute
even
him
know
and
who
burned.
that guy is.